right, everybody. We are going to have some church today. Welcome to Dad Talk. I'm Pastor Carroll. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. Nothing like a little rock and roll for the soul to start your day on the weekend. How about that, Dwayne?
Oh man, it gets me fired up. I love that song. You know, it's got the nice soft, getting you started, and then boom.
Well, it just reminds me of the underdog, the one that you hated, right? The one you didn't want to believe. Is that not indicative of what fathers are going through?
Oh,
it's like the ones that they don't want to think that exist, that are going to have to pay to go through this broken system just so it can make money.
Yeah, okay? just to make money.
I'm not going to lie to you. Hopefully, I get a little bit into it. I tell you, man, 3.5 hours that we did last night, guys. And I got to tell you something. I'm feeling like I got a little egg on the face right now.
Yeah.
Good thing is that show is saved, but it did not save on the internet. So we will have to re-release it. And then again, 3.5 hours. I thought maybe that would be a good one to play on Christmas. I don't know, but we'll get it back out. But dude, we had so many different callers and people commenting last night. We had Belfast, Australia, Japan, Canada. Guys, there was people from all across the world saying, hey, we are here. We are in the fight for fathers' rights. And thank you guys. We want to be a part of it. We even got a caller from Japan today, which we'll try to listen to in a little bit. I just saw it come across. Guys, if you haven't had a choice or a chance, not a choice, to get in your voicemail, 762-441-0281. Again, that's 762-441-0281. Do me a favor. If you're watching this, like, share, and subscribe right now. Invite somebody down there in the comments. The more you do it, the more we can get this message out to the people that need to get it. We are still running the Christmas marathon. I've still got money that's coming in. We've already sent Christmas out to a few guys. If you would like to donate towards that, the support now is down there. Cash App, Venmo, Dad Talk Today, no spaces. We can make a difference in somebody's life this Christmas. It hurts me, though, Dwayne, because yesterday when I started talking about that, the inbox went nuts, dude. I even had people like requesting money on the app. Like, hey, send me money now. I'm one of the ones that needs it. And I'm like, dude, hold on here. We got no shortage of people saying, hey, we need help, but you do what you can.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And we vet. I mean, we vet each of the people. They've been recommended or nominated for this. And I'm not gonna lie, the stories are, and again, everyone's got, a bad story, but we talk to them, we feel them out, make sure everything is where it needs to be. And then we, try to help where we can. We're, again, relying on, personal, I'm sponsoring a family myself. I know you are. We do what we can. There's so much need out there. And, we're just a couple of old guys wearing nerd shirts today. Trying to get this done and get the community. Yeah, sporting old school cowabunga dude.
Hey, dude.
A little Mario myself.
They might say the advertising isn't real, like these commercials don't work. I think I was cursed by watching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I'll tell you why. There's not a day in my life that goes by that I wouldn't eat a pizza. I love it. And my family is like, he eats pizza way too much. I am sick of looking at pizza, but dude, I could eat pizza breakfast, lunch, and supper. And I've tried to think about that, in my life, like what caused me to like pizza so much. And if you go back and watch those old Turtles cartoons, they really promoted that.
Oh yeah.
They really did.
All over it.
They all, and as they should be. I mean, pizza, it is
great.
Like, it's amazing. It was a gift from God. But guys, I hope you're doing all right. This weekend, we're going to get into some dad talk. We're going to get into your voicemails. Keep them coming. For real. Seriously. 762-441-0281. Playing back off of this, child support seems to still be the issue. So we'll be talking about that. But name of the video is, why does a father have to fight at all? Very similar to yesterday's title. But why does a fit, willing, and able father have to fight for his rights in the first place? Why isn't he given those God-given rights in the first place?
Yeah, call in. I mean, for folks that think it's the way it should be, call in, leave a message. I mean, maybe we got all this, maybe all the data is wrong. Maybe the peer review, the data over 50 some odd years, the personal stories, what we see on the nightly news, maybe all that's wrong. And there's some reason for it, collectively. There's going to be the individual case. Totally get it. But, well, in general, why should any parent, but why should a dad specifically have to fight and pay? God, I'm naming names, but like Garza, 700,000. Did I hear that number?
I know it was over 600,000 that Garza spent over a course of 11 years just trying to get 50-50 with his kids.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. You could buy one hell of a nice house. You could fund a hell of a college, a legacy fund for your Dave Ramsey folks out there. Know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Oh, okay. Your Dave Ramsey guy. Yeah. The legacy fund is basically you set your you basically change your generational financial picture. You know, I grew up poor, and anyone that knows me knows how poor I grew up. And I busted my ass and I did things. I actually have a legacy fund set up for my kids. And what that means is when, I go meet my maker and all that gets transferred with them, hopefully I've taught them because I was able to be in their life. And then they're going to be millionaires starting out. And that's that legacy fund. You do what you can for your kids. Try to walk the walk and talk the talk.
Unfortunately, my legacy fund for my kids is this show right here. That was some of the sacrifice, just to get this going. But, and I've told them, I don't know which one would want to do it, bless their hearts. But if something was to happen, because just on a real note, Dwayne, the subject matter that we're talking about here is dangerous. When you start talking about an industry that makes that much money, it's dangerous. And if something was to happen, I'm saying it right here on the show. So if that moment ever came, this show must go on.
Yeah. Okay? Oh, yeah, definitely.
The show must go on. Not all right. Let's get back. So I haven't got to see anybody get the badges yet. We're gonna reel it back in. But the YouTubes, man, the red pill. Let's describe some of these for a sec. Dwayne, what is that red pill and why should it be prescribed to everybody across the country?
It should be prescribed to men and women. I mean, this
absolutely
is red pill across the board. Basically, red pill is, seeing reality. I mean, for the Matrix crowd, that was when Neo is offered the blue pill and the red pill. Blue pill, you go back into the Matrix and live your sparkly life where the government loves you and is there to help out and everyone's on the up and up and, you pay your taxes and all these these wonderful things happen to you. The red pill is you wake up in the real world and you see what's going on, and then you become like Neo and fight to fix all the wrongs of the world. And just like in the movie, Morpheus said, there are people that are they've taken that blue pill, they're so involved in the Matrix that they will fight you to stay in that reality. They will fight hard. They will change the cognitive dissonance, all the craziness to stay for things to stay away. And the narrative's been working. I mean,
it has. Yeah. It has. And you're talking about the real world as in where we currently are. We're not talking about the MTV show.
Right. Yeah. Not the real world. Yeah. We're not talking about that. But yeah, the red pill is basically you see the world the way it is. You look at the data, you say, no, this is, man and woman should be this way. This is how this is going to be. I'm not going to accept any shenanigans. I'm going to live my best life now and do it in the real world. That's at the highest level what the red pill is.
Absolutely. Let's get on to the next. Does that even need an explanation? I mean, really, guys, get this. No matter what, don't do it yourself. Make sure it's court ordered, because if you find out something, it's not going to hold up in court. I do. Yep. That one. This is one I'd love to see.
Oh, boy.
The nails. That one's just going to be fun. When they piss us off and we start making headway, that's the one we're going to be using. But this is the one I really want to coin, because I know we talk about the white knight, but the guy that comes in and tries to save the day and helps mom alienate the dad, they're everywhere, Dwayne.
Oh, yeah.
They're everywhere. Here he comes to save the day. I mean, the guy was talking about that last night on the voicemail. Could you imagine the new boyfriend being a sheriff?
I mean, I wouldn't have what it takes. I'd be like, all right, it's over. Yeah, sheriff of a small town on top of everything else. It's like, out of Dukes of Hazzard kind of stuff here, going way back into the late 70s, early 80s with that one. But the sheriff is just, every time the guy shows up, guess who's getting arrested? Every allegation is going to be, just rubber stamped. He knows all the judges, all the lawyers. I mean, they're all doing the favors for each other. that's a tough situation.
And guys, I've already deleted it, but a lot of us end up getting in repeat situations, even though as crazy as the stories might get, you got a few exes, right? We tend to repeat before we end up learning our lesson. And I just saw there's a lot of these ladies down in the comments, Dwayne, like, oh, you look amazing. Add me on my profile. You better not. You better not, because I tell you,
a red pill.
Well, take a red pill, but I also think it could be one of the Austin Powers situations. I don't know that if that's who that is on that profile. She's a man, baby. She's a man from on the other side of the globe, and I hope none of you guys would fall victim to that. We're going to bring up a couple of your comments, just having a little fun. Taylor Peach said, "What happens when that money is put away and the mother decides to say, 'Oh, you have extra money hiding from me'? It's like every little penny that you got, Dwayne. And look, it's bad. You're on social media. Maybe you want to show off the ribs that you grilled this weekend, or maybe you went out to McDonald's with your kids. Even then, how dare you sit there and do that? We didn't get to eat ribs tonight. We didn't get to do this. How dare you go to Six Flags? Oh, you're out there living your best life while we're over here in the slums." They will put you down for anything that you do. And like I said, guys, it's not really the action. These are people that are completely consumed with character assassination. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. No matter what you do, it's wrong. The kid comes over sick and you take his temperature. You didn't do it the right way. You didn't do this. Oh, he coughed. You should have taken him to the hospital immediately. You dressed him up and you put 2 different socks because it was special, crazy sock day at school. Oh my gosh, you did that wrong. No matter what you do, it's wrong. And that's how these people operate. And there's no winning. You just have to kind of do your best thing. But yeah, when you get extra money, and be sure to put it under a mattress, do not put it into a financial institution. I think Bitcoin might be, that world might be the better thing, although their numbers are interesting right now. But they'll do it, and they'll use the course to get that money from you.
Well, dude, I've actually had a couple of these like successful businessmen that have invested in like crypto and gold and silver. And they're like, "Eric, I want to come share with your audience." And I'm like, dude, it confuses me. But that might not be something bad. Because I'll tell you, I had a friend. I think I was telling you about this. I'll leave his personal situation out of it. This guy invested in Bitcoin when they were $100 a piece. He put his whole savings into Bitcoin. You know what those things are worth now?
They were worth a pretty penny.
Yeah, but you really needed to get in when it very first started, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so up and down. But man, I wish I would have known about that. Yahoo and Amazon, and whoever thought that was going to turn into what it's turned into. But guys, sometimes maybe we should be looking at these other ways and invest in money. I'm just saying. Eric Brunhammer said, "My son's mom hasn't seen him in a year and hasn't paid child support since February. I can't even get a court day." That sucks, man. I mean, again, it's the whataboutisms. What if this was on the other? What if it was the other way around, right? Somebody would have lost a license. They would be in jail. And I'm sorry for that, Eric. Keep reporting it.
Well, I kind of go, outside looking into that, but, and I'm sure you've tried, but have you tried reaching out to the mom? Because what happens is that child support debt. I mean, again, I'm going to kind of flip the script around because, we're equality here.
We're equality. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about equality, but her child support number, she's behind, and what the data shows it. And we've had calls that child support number gets so big, they get scared and they're like, I don't want to do this because, I'm going to get nailed for child support. I'm a debtor. I'm a deadbeat. I'm all those things that men get called all the time. And she may be staying away. This might be one of those things you talked about before, about maybe a little olive branch. Like if you have her contact info, reach out to her and go, you know what? Let's not even talk about the child support. It won't be brought up, whatever, but I want you to see your kid. Spend some time with your kid and, rebuild that relationship. We're not even going to talk child support at this point. And I know it probably sucks. I mean, you're probably needing that money or some portion of it to exist, and it's hard on you. Totally get that. But that bond with the child, that's something you can't get back. My 2 cents.
Absolutely, man. Ryan Whaler said, "What slapping my bro dads?" You know what? I'll say the first part and I'll let you guess the second. D's. That's what's slapping. D's.
Well, we're not allowed to. Eric, you're not allowed to slap anything anymore from what happened last night on your mic.
Yeah. For those of our followers that wasn't watching last night, I was showing off my assets, right? We lost half of our viewers when I did it, right?
Yeah.
But we was just talking about how unfair it is that I'm not ever going to have an OnlyFans. I don't think you are either, Dwayne.
Oh no.
And if we did, I don't know how good it would do.
Maybe for the blind.
Yeah. But I mean, if I only had bobs, I might be able to come on here, and just because of my bobs, I could have a successful show. But for us, these older men, right? We got to try hard. So again, like, share, subscribe. We need your help.
Please. Stars.
Please. Yeah. For 35 cents a day, you can feed a kid. Think of you can support Dad Talk today with 35 cents a day. Guys, get those stars going out. Get these badges, right? Because our assets and our bobs ain't getting us nowhere. I can promise you that. Mike Whitney, he got to pop on with us a little bit last night. He said the fact that they have us fighting at all on their terms is the biggest part of the scam. Do not comply and fight on our terms instead. That's dude. We keep talking about this great revival, this great revolution. I've heard so many different things. Dude, I've even heard people talking about violence. I am not for violence at all, but I understand why people are coming up with these things. They're like, at what point in time are we going to take a different stance and do something about this when we've done everything we can do? This movement has not done everything they can do yet. I think they are, they're so insistent on these rallies, Dwayne. And I think that was because of the past, Martin Luther King and the march and stuff like that. We are fighting a different fight. Our guys are at work. They're not going to be able to show up to those. You might have some where you can get a couple of hundred. Most of them aren't going to be able to afford to show up in one spot in the United States all at one time. But if we did it here and we did it consistently, think about that. I'm not talking about just one day in front of a Capitol. No. We did it here. We did it consistently, and we start locking arms with these guys that you're seeing over in these other countries. And you see this big swelling of people saying, you might not represent us in the media, but here we come, here we are, and you're not denying us anymore. I think you would see this movement just start to take off, dude. You would see birth.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to imagine 1 million people descending on a number of different, occasions on the Capitol peacefully, I'm going to be very specific about that, peacefully, and saying, we're not going to take it. We're done with this. And the legislators go, oh my, we need to start doing something for these guys, because one, we need to start voting these people out. The good ones in, the bad ones out. I mean, it's common sense to do that. And when these guys start fearing their reelection campaigns, you'll be amazed at what happens. They're all in it for the checkbook. They're not in it to help us and do whatever. They're in it to feed their own personal interests, which to a degree we all are. We're all in it for our own personal reasons for the most part. But you get 1 million people telling someone, I will not vote you in. This will not happen. We're standing strong. We're not going to take it. You'll see change happen. Because again, when someone says, hey, did you hear about, Dad Talk today? Or did you hear about the equal shared parenting? Or did you hear about this? What do most people do? They go to your Talk Tick, your InstaSnap, your Farce Book, all those things, and they see how many followers, YouTube, you Bob, and see how many followers you have.
Somebody gave a really good suggestion. I don't know that we got the assets and the bobs for it, but they said we should start something called Only Dads. I don't know what you want us to show on there. That's the problem, because none of this is the milkshake's not bringing anybody to the yard, buddy. None.
I've done some, some little modeling work for the wife, and she asked me not to anymore and pleaded with me not to, She goes, you're so funny, hubby. I love you, Dwayne. You're a great guy. Put your shirt back on.
Hey, man, dude, I appreciate this. Issue Banks said, I'm a 39-year-old man. No kids snipped. I have a girl with 0 kids. I'm a true MGTOW. Ain't you two stepdads? You guys are a bit of a contradiction. Stop saving them. I'm a stepdad. I am a dad too. And I'll believe, look, dude, I understand what you're doing right there. And I've got nothing against you. At the same time, I went through a bunch of crap. I have beautiful marriage now, which is actually that's my support behind this. I believe in the traditional nuclear family. It's not the problem, like with the nuclear family is not the problem. The problem is we're not seeing much with the nuclear family anymore, and that they have made incentives to tear that thing apart. And I believe those incentives and all of it was dads being targeted. It was a men thing that they came after. The surprising thing, Dwayne, again, like we was seeing last night, we have so many, even one now, Mandalorian, she's back. We have so many of these ladies that support fathers' rights. I got one, guys, it's coming up. I can't wait for you to see. This is a story that's went viral lately, and I was just talking to him before I came on here. I think this lady went like 30 years without knowing who her dad was, and they've recently connected, and she's finding out all the different ways that her mom kept her away from this man, and their relationship is just beautiful, dude. But you got a lot of these that are speaking out saying this is scum. Feminism is tearing people apart. Look, I lost my dad because of this. And I'm glad that they're stepping up, man. I really am glad that they're stepping up to the plate. And I think, one of the biggest things is in this community, we've got to learn to have conversation. Like I said, I even want to bring the feminist on here. I want to bring the feminist, anybody that wants to come on, please, because I know the research and I know what we're fighting for. We got nothing to hide from. Dude.
Yeah, and to kind of add here, and actually I talked about it a little bit last evening in the ill-fated video that had the technical issues. But my situation, I was divorced, and I have a firm belief that man should not be alone, woman should not be alone. I mean, we're designed to be together. But actually, I'm a stepdad as a result of my wife being a widow. To get right down to it and get right up front and honest with you, she was widowed at the end of the day with all the other pieces in there. But so anyway, a little different than I think what the kind of the assumption is though stepdads were going in and being the white knight and all that stuff, and mine was a little different. But anyway.
Well, I mean, dude, like I was talking to some MGTOW guys last night, and you would think MGTOW and fathers' rights are similar. It's very different. Yeah. A lot of our guys are just broke ass dads that have been through the system because they didn't go their own way, right? Yeah. And a lot of these men's rights guys are very successful. And I'll tell you some of those the content that they've got going out there. Like there's one that's talking about making a documentary. My buddy, if you haven't seen his show, check it out. It's called The Renaissance of Men. But he was showing me this little trailer that he had made for this. And he was talking about how the Industrial Revolution was really where the nuclear family started to split apart, because for the first time we were telling men, you got to leave the house to become the provider. And it was something I had never thought about. Right. But he really dips down into the history of where we started seeing the man getting taken more and more away from the house and the consequences that came from it. This started hundreds of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not just recently. This is very old problem.
Well,
so
read your third grade history books when you go through the American Revolution, the Industrial Revolution. We go from the Agricultural Revolution and move forward. The family was farming. That was what they spent most of their time on collectively. And then when the Industrial Revolution hit, that all that increased. There were so many pieces of that, but you layer over the father, the nuclear family, and the mother, and the changing of those dynamics, and you see it happening. It's history. It's a wonderful thing, and
yeah, no, I get it, dude. And we had one of the ladies show up last night. It was like, what if mom's homeschooling? And you expect her to do a job or whatever, and she's doing this, dude. That's what I said. Look, tables have turned. Last year, I was sitting here homeschooling my daughter, and you know what I was doing? I was working while she was right here doing her schoolwork.
Yeah.
And that can happen. Dads can do it just as well. And unfortunately, have you seen the price of eggs? Have you seen the price of gas? It takes two. It takes two. And I think both parents should be doing equal work. Not only, you might not get equal pay, or maybe you just have to do a part-time job because of it, but there is always some way that you can help. Yeah. I don't think there's no one size fits all, but unfortunately, it seems like those lines have been kind of drawn in the sand. It's either one way or the other. No, it's not. No, it's not, especially in the cases where you two have split up. You said you don't want to be together anymore. Find out a way to go equal. If you don't want to be equals, don't get together. That's just it, man.
That's a whole other huge conversation about, the
we can go in all kinds of directions with this.
Yeah, we're going. I'm actually, I saw a comment about how to put stars on Facebook, how to, submit stars. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to get that going.
I don't know. I did like the only nads. Hey, Jason Lynn Butts. Thank you for that, dude. I mean, on Facebook, there is an option here where you can send stars. I think they're like a penny a piece. So it's just little ways that you can support us while we're doing this on YouTube. Similar to what the gentleman did a second ago, you can buy what's called super chats, but also on there's memberships. There's memberships on Facebook where I think it's like $5 a month. You can show up to support Dad Talk, and then on YouTube it's the same thing, and that's where you'll get those neat little badges that we made. Dwayne, let me tell you though, there's sometimes, I think you saw this not long ago, that it gets very frustrating. We have a Patreon too. I had this guy, I'm just going to talk about it on here. This is one of my frustrations. Okay, this guy goes and signs up for $5 a month on Patreon, right? I had no idea he had did it. I would think we make like $200 a month on that. Dude, StreamYard alone cost me $100 a month. You need to do this. But I think we get like $200 a month on Patreon. This guy goes and signs up on Patreon. He stays on it for like a year, and then out of the middle of nowhere, I start seeing these posts like, "You're stealing money out of my banking account. I don't know how you got my number. Why are you doing this to me?" And I'm like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? And so I had to go, and he had signed up to become like a member on Dad Talk and support. Well, that was what? Even in the 12 months, and I gave the $60 back. Oh, he's taking $3,000 out of my banking account. And it's just little ways, man. Oh my God, it's so crazy, dude. And you want to have stuff out there where people can support the platform. It costs a lot to do what we do. And so thank you. Just going through that. But yeah, somebody did that. I think we was looking at that not too long ago, and it felt like a bait and switch, right? Like I'm going to sign up for something knowing that this is what it's going to do, and later say, "Oh, look what Eric's doing to me." Dude, you did that to yourself. So I just say that if you join up as a member, that's a monthly pledge at $5 a month or what have you to help us do what we've got to do. And
5,000.
It's Facebook, it's Patreon, it's YouTube. They do it. So thank you. I don't want to hear about it afterwards.
Which, Jason, by the way, we are not lawyers.
No.
Obviously, the fashion sense, not contract lawyers, and we're not whatever that was earlier.
No, absolutely not. Jason Lynn Botson said, "I know all about this getting gaslighted all too well going through it as we speak." So what's gaslighting, Dwayne? That's a good conversation to go through. Somebody that, and I'm going to tell you, some of these people are excellent at what they do. The ones that have a little bit of truth to what they say, that makes you question your whole reality and who you are. You can feel so beat up to the point to where you go crazy. But Dwayne, you tell me, what's your definition of gaslighting?
Gaslighting. Those are, and when they talk about rat poison, again, rat poison is 99% good rat food with just a 1% shot of poison in it, which is what kills the rat. And that's kind of how gaslighting, parts of what it is. But gaslighting is doing different things to inflame the person. Like I'm trying to think of, I'm trying to keep my personal life out of it because I have so many ones there. But
hard to do.
You find out or you see a post about your gal talking to another guy, and you're like, "Hey, honey, I saw you. This guy, I have no idea who he is." And she's like, "Oh, well, you're this, you're that, you're all these different things." Or they come in and they love bomb you, and they're like, "Oh, the first week of your relationship, you're the best in the world," and then slowly over time, they're like, you're just not as fun as you used to be, boy. And you're kind of confused. You buy them roses or you take them out to dinner, and they're like, oh God, I was hoping to keep my personal life out of it. But I remember one time, I'm trying to be romantic. So I remember giving my first wife roses, and she yelled at me. She's like, "I did not want pink red roses. I wanted pink ones and threw them back in my face. Gaslighting.
Oh, I've been through that, man. I've been through that. And that's, you know, that's why the statement that I hear from these guys all the time when they talk about this, it's the cancel culture that tries to cancel out the conversations that we're having right now. Is these guys should have chose better. It's their fault that they're in that situation. Let me tell you something. These people that do these things, I think they can convince most people within the first couple of minutes they are an amazing person.
Oh yeah.
And you can get in a relationship very easily and then find out when it's too late, she's pregnant or something like that. I have no idea who I was with. Okay. I've been there, dude. It's like a light switch flips. And then you got to be very careful because one thing I've noticed, they love to argue. Can any of you guys relate to this? I hate it. I don't want to argue. I'm at that age in my life. I just want peace. Just give me peace. I'll do anything to de-escalate a situation. But when you just keep coming at me and they'll gaslight, if you're one of those people that you try to find a way to make it settle down, they'll find something. Again, this is somebody you probably gave very intimate details about your relationship to. So they know your hurts, they know your frustrations, and they know what to do to get a reaction. Because remember, once you react and you're like, that's when they're going to take the picture and say, see, I told you who they were. And there is reasons behind that gaslighting. And that's why I say, guys, we have got to calm our emotions. We've got to learn how to keep them at bay, because all of this gaslighting is doing is trying to paint the picture of who they want people or who they want others to look at you. I mean, how they want others to look at you. And it sucks. It's confusing. It's frustrating. And it can make you feel like you're going crazy. Really
when people talk about, you should have chose better. Pick one guy that said, oh yeah, I want to, get hitched with a girl or a guy, again, flip it around, but I want to get hitched with someone that's going to, kill my soul, financially bankrupt me and ruin me. They didn't start and say, hi, my name is Dwayne Ward. And oh, by the way, I am going to ruin your life.
Dude, let's add another piece onto it. The narrative, and how does the narrative and the stigmas come into this? Now, if you leave somebody you had a kid with, maybe they was pregnant, but this is starting to happen. There's domestic violence or something like that going on. And it just gets to the point. A lot of these guys will stay in the situation just because they don't want to become a victim of the narrative. And they think nobody's going to believe what I've went through. So they'll stay on this hell on earth when nobody should have to be going through that. Nobody.
Yeah.
And so for anybody that's been in that situation and you got out, good job. And that's what we need to start telling our guys. I believe in fighting for the family. I believe in fighting for the marriage, but there is going to be some situations you're never going to win in that arena, Dwayne.
Oh, no.
You'll know it when you're there.
Yeah, no matter. And here's the thing with, negotiating or keeping the peace that I learned anyway, is when you give something up, that becomes the new starting point with them. If you're, if you let them yell at you, then yelling now that's the starting point. Then it becomes hitting you. And then it becomes draining your bank account. And then it becomes, I got stories there too. Again, the smiling face, there's stuff behind the eyes. I mean, we've all got our story, but
I do too.
Don't let the happy, jokey face fool you into thinking I had the blessed by. I've had a blessed life, but I've had.
You're gaslighting people with talking about it. Because it's bringing their emotions back up. We're not purposely gaslighting you. We know it's triggering. We know it is.
Yeah, the thing is it that becomes, with people like that, it becomes the new starting point, and they always want to take their half out of where they decided to start, if that makes any sense. And it just gets worse and worse and worse because they figure out, oh, well, they're okay. I mean, what you allow is what will continue. And if they think they can do something to you, they'll do it, and they'll have fun. They'll play the victim because that feeds their InstaSnap profile that, oh, look at me, I'm being abused, I'm this. They love doing the reversals. There's so many different pieces of that, but gaslighting's horrible for everybody.
not to talk about diagnoses or different mental health conditions, BPD or what, but a lot of them have that fear of abandonment, and they will constantly tell you, oh, you're a piece of crap. You left us. You did this. You did this. And then they sit there and talk about how bad of a person you are nonstop, but they can't get past the relationship. It's like, if I'm as bad as you say you were, why can't you just go the hell on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I'm that bad, just you go your way, I'll go my way. Just let me be a dad and let's not talk. I'd do that in a heartbeat, Dwayne.
Exactly. Yeah.
That would be the best case scenario. Like, let me see my kid and don't ever talk to me again. Like, I'll message you when I got to see my kid and when I have to. But other than that, go on. Go find your knight in shining armor that you think you're going to have. Most of the time, nobody's going to have that type of woman. But anyway, that was a shot. We're going to get to the voicemails. You guys got some great comments in here, and I know me and Dwayne can pull them up if we could sit here and rap all day long on them, but we've been going for 37 minutes, and I want to make sure to get your voicemails in. 762-441-0281. I'm getting some in while we're speaking, so keep them rolling. We are getting 762-441-0281. Here's the first caller.
Hey, my name's Benjamin. I'm from Minnesota. I just wanted to add a little, I guess, my piece and my perspective for this whole mess we know as family law. I have equal custody and parenting time, and I've had it for almost 8 years. I'm the paralegal parent on TikTok. Before I became a paralegal, I prevailed in court against a silver bullet in trial. My parenting time was not only restored, but lost time was reimbursed. CPS and law enforcement have visited my home 10 times. The last time the officers were equipped with riot shields. I kid you not. They never took my kids, not once. In my opinion, if fathers want to prevail, they must incorporate 4 self-improvement strategies with great intensity and focus to win for their families. And those are, number 1, emotional intelligence 2.0. Look up the book, read the 4 sections. No one will ever prevail in an argument against you again. I don't care who they are. The second is the rational male, book 1. Men, you need to identify who is in the position of power and what that means. The third is the secret movie. It has to do with the law of attraction and controlling your own mind and your own thoughts to get to your resolution. Lastly, become a paralegal in 3 months. Now the father will dominate the courtroom like I did, and you will win for your kids. Thank you for your time.
Hey, I appreciate it. Riot shields. Holy crap. Just when you thought you had heard everything. I think, I haven't even heard of those books that he's talking about. He's talking about emotional intelligence. And it sounds like, what was we just talking about with gaslighting, learning how to control your emotions. Check those out. I think this guy really knows what he's talking about. The only thing that, and not disagreeing with him, talking about how to get the upper hand in the courtroom. They're not about sense and who's the best parent or anything. The courtroom is based
Matlock.
No, it's not. It's based on who can make the most money. And that goes to the conversation we was having last night. I have a hard time when these guys are like, I'm going through this. What should I do? I don't want to tell you to go to family court. I don't, man. I can't promote knowing what I know about those courtrooms. The system is failing our guys. And I know many of them will go and they'll give every last dime because they think they're going to get justice.
More times than not.
How much is justice worth? Here's the thing. Let's boil it down as simple as we can, Dwayne. Parental alienation. I've heard the experts, and it's crazy. I've had almost all the experts on the show and I'll ask them the same question. What is parental alienation? None of them have the same definition. None of them.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you the quickest telltale sign that you're going through alienation. If you are a fit, willing, and able father, and you have to go to court to see your kid, you're being alienated. That's it.
That's it.
If you're fit, willing, and able, and she says in order for you to see your kids, you've got to go through the court, you've got to go through the attorneys, because that is somebody that's ready to profit from the system, and they are worried about themselves and threatened by your relationship with your kid more than they love their kid. That's it.
Yeah, that's the definition. Yeah, I mean, when people talk about, oh yeah, I want to fight to do that. I mean, others have mentioned. I think we even got a comment or two down there about which way to go. The pro se, which is representing yourself, and there's both sides. The thing is yeah, when you say I'm going to get an attorney and we're going to fight for this, you're feeding the system. Usually, the attorney is golf buddies with the judge and has contributed to the campaign and. They're all buddies. This is not, again, Matlock. These are all buddies that are like, hey, let's see how much we can. There's a video on my website, but you hear a judge talking to attorneys while they're waiting for some things to happen, and the judge says, "Wow, you guys are going to make so much money off of this." I mean, quote, that's what she said. I mean, and that's how they all look at it. They don't care about Susie, John, nothing. Money. That's all they care about. When you say, I want to fight, I'm going to get an attorney or I'm going to get a bunch of attorneys. Well, you've heard last night we had a guy, I paid $20,000 and the guy, the law firm pulled back out the last second and left him on his own. He paid another $7,000. I mean, you hear the common theme, money. How much can I drain out of you and then leave you with nothing, or what the deal you're going to get anyway. And this guy, he got it, became a paralegal. In order for this to work, you've got to basically push more paper to the other side and run them out of money. We've got a guy, I'll say Taryn, I hope he doesn't get mad at me for saying his name, but that's essentially what he did. He learned to fight the system. He read the books, put the time in, and he ran his ex out of money. And that's when magically he got equal shared custody. It's not a glamorous answer.
It shouldn't take all that. Just
couldn't though.
No, it's not. And I understand. Like, dude, I mean, I've heard different people say, make sure you're checking who's giving donations to the judge, because they're going to have favor. That's the attorney that you need to hire. And unfortunately,
if I got some
the problem
like,
with the system.
Oh yeah. When I got some guy or girl saying, oh my God, what do I do? I go, well, if you want the 5-second answer, you go into findthemoney.org and find out who's contributed the most to your judge's campaign and hire them.
Yep. And I don't suggest that to anybody.
I know.
I mean, is it true? Is it effective? Yes, we've seen it be effective. But that just tells you everything you need to know about the family courts in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. You're not going to a place where you're heard on merit. He who can afford the justice will get the justice. And even then, if they know, the first thing they want to find out is how much money you got, because they want to know how long they can keep that case going. I think if we had maxes on child support and we had maxes on attorney fees, maybe you would see some of these cases get a little bit more. It's not going to happen.
Well, when the lawyers are writing the laws, you think the lawyers are going to write a law that says I'm going to cap fee? We did have an attorney out of when he was, I think it was Colorado. He was talking about that. He says we should cap our fees, and you saw the rest of the guys in the thing give him that. Say what, Willis? They did a Gary Coleman. What you talking about, Willis? I mean, yeah, it's nuts,
dude. For any of you guys, maybe your attorney didn't do this. Some of them don't even communicate with you. One of the biggest thing I hear from these guys is like, my attorney won't talk to me. I'm sitting here paying them all this money and I can't even get the damn guy on the phone.
Paying them.
Oh my God. Are you serious? But then, like, at the end of the case, they'll get this billing. Like, I made a telephone call. It cost this much. I looked at your case for 10 minutes. It cost you this much. And you just see this bogus billing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll never forget my first one. My first divorce was uncontested. Wife signed. Yeah. And the attorney told me, you've paid everything you need to pay once you pay me this last payment. I was like, okay. So I paid it. It was money I didn't have. I gave every bit of my income tax towards it. I think it was like 3 months later. I get a letter in the mail from this guy. And I mean, I kid you not, Dwayne. It said, I made a telephone call. This is what I said. It was like 2 sentences. And I got a bill for $500. was almost 20 years ago.
These guys are shysters.
I'm like, are you freaking kidding me, dude? I didn't have that type of money back then. I don't even really have that now. But just looking at it, it's like, you got that much for making that phone call? And I chewed him out. I was like, you told me I was done. I didn't tell you to make that phone call. You did it.
Yeah.
You know, and then I became this piece of crap because I was questioning him. I fought hard for you. I did this. No, you didn't. You fought an uncontested case. But oh yeah. Then came the gaslighting from my attorney. I can't believe you would do that. You need to pay that money. I did this. I stood up for you when nobody else would. The attorneys will gaslight you just like your ex will.
Oh yeah,
because they need that money coming in.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, watch The Marriage Story, great, movie example of it. But that's what they do. They bring in the girl, the guy who's wanting to file, and they go, okay, well, one, how much money do you have? They figure out, okay, this is what we got to work with, and you got equity in your house, you got 401ks, whatever, you got family that can donate money. Okay, I know the number, and they call the other attorney, opposing counsel, and they work out the deal, and do not let anyone tell you differently. True story. That's one of the reasons why I did what I did in my divorce. I caught wind just from talking to my attorney at the time that the opposing counsel, they had been having communication back and forth. They were gonna. I was what do they call a whale? I was a great whale, great white whale. Do what?
Free Willy.
Free Willy in more ways than one. It's a homonym.
That wasn't Free Willy. That Willy cost.
Yeah, but
never mind. Never mind.
Okay, we gotta stop.
All right, we're gonna get back to the voicemails, guys. Keep them coming in 762-441-0281. In case you haven't heard me say it today, have you liked? Have you shared? Have you subscribed? Make sure you do those things. Make sure you go follow us on Rumble. If you're on Facebook or YouTube or wherever it is you're watching right now, make sure to go do that on Rumble because we might need it one day. I'm just telling you. With the subject matter, we might need it one day. So it would mean a lot. And then we'll keep this content going out to you guys as long as we can. But like, share, subscribe, invite some friends down in the comments because we are having the conversations that they don't want us to have. And in order to do it and make it effective, you need to be here. Here we go. 762-441-0281.
Hello. My name is Dave. I live in Florida. And sadly, I have fought all that I have left. I've got out of state on business. I received a text from my then wife and said, when you get home, we will not be here. That was summer of 2017, and I have not seen my children since. I have spent well over $100,000 fighting for my kids. I have been accused of absolutely everything imaginable, proven my innocence. However, the court did not care about the truth. A couple years ago, when I wasn't able to talk with my children, one of them said, I hope you die on the road somewhere. She went and changed their last name. When brought up in court, the judge said that's up to them. If they want to change their last name, that's up to them. I did not consent to that. I still pay child support. As it currently stands now, I cannot talk with my children nor receive a photograph of my children. The lies that she has continued to perpetuate has definitely convinced the court that the children are better off without their father. So I have made a decision to no longer fight for my kids. All my children were under 12 years old, and now they are graduating high school and whatnot. And been advised that I should have quit fighting many years ago. So, I was a great father. Nothing I wanted more in life than to be a father. And due to a breakdown in a relationship, she has used her family's money and her evilness to destroy the most important relationship I will. Hello.
Hey, I'm going to correct this caller. He said, I was a great father. And maybe you guys can help me down there in the comments. You are a great father. There's no was to it.
Yeah.
$100,000. That's almost a house. I mean, houses might cost a little bit more nowadays, but that was almost a house. And one of the most troubling things on that, because we hear this in these alienation cases, Dwayne, is his kid said they wanted him to die on the side of the road somewhere. Let me tell you something. Even if you've got a troubled relationship with your kids, there is still a part of them that wants to be in your life because they love you. You are their parent. They even in cases where you've hurt them, they're hurt with you, but they still love you. In cases of alienation, they have been taught to hate. And now here is a kid that wants to hate, even though he spent all this money. And this is a guy fighting. Remember, this will be the guy that will be called the deadbeat. The one that just went through all of this and listened to the pain in their voices. This system eats these guys, chews them up, and spits them out. And then they're damaged goods out here just trying to make it through life, not knowing where to go. And those are the people that we're wanting to get to rallies and the legislation and stuff. But you're here. And I'm glad you're here. There was a great father. You are a great father. You are important. You do matter. And I hope you will continue to keep calling in because I want to hear that voice turn around. Yeah. I want to hear that voice turn around. You've been beaten up. You feel like you can't go on. You don't know what's going on in your life right now. Turn your pain into purpose. This movement needs guys like you to turn that pain into purpose and to show up. Okay? Go ahead, Dwayne.
Well, you could hear the brokenness in the guy's voice. Yes. I mean, the pause, it's not how most guys talk. I mean, the confidence is gone. He's had everything ripped away. And yeah, he's being told he didn't fight. He spent $100,000, probably everything he ever hoped to own, and all that. And then, being told, of course, every parent's heard, I hate you, mom, I hate you, dad. It's all part of it. I mean, as far as encouraging words would be, today's a new day. It sounds like the kids are graduating or graduated high school. It means, hopefully they're 18. This may be a chance to reach out, have that olive branch out there, get Absolutely. In touch with them. Because, Eric mentioned earlier on, they had a situation. It sounds like your story, maybe 20 years into the future, they had I believe it was a daughter that was told that
the same thing, dude.
Yeah, her dad hated her and all, and had all this animosity. Well, come to find out, 30-ish years later, they were able to reconnect. And let's just say the story was a lot different than what she was told. Hoping to have them on and do a duet with the daughter and the father. But yeah, keep fighting. I know it's hard to to say that. I mean, you're in or we're in a dark place. Don't give up. Keep fighting every day. Get involved in the chats. Get a buddy. Reach out and stay in the fight. It doesn't have to be these huge Herculean efforts every day, but just little things. Keep the kids' pictures there. Get involved with different things that are gonna get you out there and get some of that confidence back. And reach out to your kids. They want to hear. I don't care what they said. They want to hear from you.
Oh, absolutely, man. And you bring up a good point, Dwayne. And I want to say that if these guys are in here fighting and they feel like, hey, I'm getting no relief in my case, and there's no relief anytime soon, I don't even know why I'm fighting anymore. That's when you come and you fight here. There might be points in your case, in your personal life, where you say, I'm hitting a roadblock and it's driving me crazy right now. I got to pull back from it a little bit, but that doesn't mean you stop fighting for the overall cause. Pain into purpose. We can use you here. Everybody plays a role into this. Where I get a little confused with it sometimes, Dwayne, is you'll have people that show up like, I'm here, I'm ready to fight. What do you want me to do? And I'm like, I don't know. You got to figure that out. Because everybody has a different place and where they can contribute. Some of it is just you guys showing up here and sharing the content, because a lot of what you're wanting to say is being said on this screen. And then you can call into the voicemails, but we can get it out to other people. The thing about men is, again, we suffer in silence. Many of us are living the same journey because the systems operating the way it was designed, but we're going through the same emotions, the same pain, same situations, but we don't know how many is actually going through it because you haven't seen the guys talking about it. Well, that's the difference. How many times are you guys sitting back hearing these callers, and there's points in time where they're talking about their case and you're like, ooh, that's me, that's me. That's me.
Or they go, what? That's what happened.
That's what happened. I mean, heck, dude, as crazy as it was last night talking about ovarian cancer, getting healed with turmeric, there was another guy that showed up. That's exactly what my ex did.
Yeah.
Guys, these cases, I mean, I'm telling you, they're very similar, but this movement needs guys like you. And it doesn't become a movement until we have guys like you, right? Mm-hmm. It was a good father. You are a good father. Come in here and fight with other good fathers who have had that right stripped away from them. It's getting away from our personal cases sometimes when the heat gets on too hot. That doesn't mean you got to stay away from this. We need you here.
Yeah, true that. I mean, it's your personal case. Learn from it. Share bits and pieces. When the time's right. But how many times you've been in a situation, good or bad, you're working on a car and you can't figure out how to do it, and some other guy goes, "Oh yeah, I remember that stupid alternator on the Mustang with the 2 dumb bolts at the bottom. You got to break your knuckle off. Well, if you come at it from this angle, it'll pop it out." And the other guy goes, "Oh my God, yeah, that made it perfect." For the bad situations, I mean, Mike last night was talking about, if he knew then what he knew now. Think about the first time everyone that's been to family court, the first time they walked in and they're like, okay, we're going to get some justice here. It's going to happen. And you walked out broken because you saw how it's really set up, but you had no idea. You went, wow, they think I'm a piece of garbage father. I'm going to be a was father or a was mother. I don't know the right way to say that, but, what if you had somebody that said right before you walked in, this is what's going to happen, dude or ma'am. You're going to walk in, they're going to treat you like garbage, treat you like a paycheck, make you feel inferior, and that they might throw you a bone or something. That's what they're going to do. This is how you fight it. This is how you fix it. You're going to be empowered. You're going to say, yeah, we need people that are going to go in and do that for other people. Like, share, subscribe, learn the information, share it with some guy on the street. Get a Dad Talk Today t-shirt or a mug. Start the conversation. I've had people, I had a sign on the back of my pickup. I've had people pull me over, scared the crap out of me the first few times, but pull me over and go, dude, I'm going through family court. I don't know what to do. What is going on? And I, spend 10, 20, 30 minutes talking to them, getting them information and getting them, on there. And they're like, wow, okay. I thought I was a horrible parent. No, the system's working as designed. I'm going to figure out ways to fight the system.
Absolutely, guys. Get involved. Get in here. Like, share, subscribe. Get one of your friends in here now. I know every one of you, if you've been around this community, knows somebody that's going through it. The quicker we do that, the quicker this can be over and we can shut this page down. Unfortunately, Dwayne, I don't want to be a hypocrite, because if this goes good and we can finally get that going in America, we can't turn our backs on Australia. We can't turn our backs on these other countries. That's when our movement needs to go help our brothers over there. Could you imagine if we all started helping each other? The solidarity between this,
it would be
movement
over.
Of masculinity. Oh, it would be over. It would be. And all it's waiting on is these guys to do it. That's all it is. We have complicated the solution for far too long. We have just complicated it. When they all come together and you become that voice, everybody is going to want to do something about it. I guarantee you.
I had a lawyer tell me.
You're half of the world, guys. I want you to think about that. You're half of the world, if not more. I don't know the numbers on that, but that's got a little bit of pull.
I I had a lawyer tell me, actually in the Family Law Foundation, tell me there's reasons why you guys can't get this stuff done. You guys fight amongst each other. You don't show up. You don't do the things, and we laugh at you.
Julie Pruitt said, I'm on a t-shirt. Hey, right. Message the page, guys. I think I said I was going to do a giveaway last night. I really need to be selling these things, but maybe we can do it right now. If you're watching, whoever likes, shares, subscribes, and tags the most people down in there, invite your friends. We're going to be watching the comments. Whoever invites the most people and does those three things, like, shares, and subscribe, we'll get somebody out a t-shirt today. That'd be a little way of giving back to the community for doing something. And it doesn't cost you a thing to do it. A lot of people are saying they want to see me on Rogan. I've been hearing that.
I want to see you on Rogan.
Oh, you know what? And I'm not going to lie. Like, let me give him a little piece of encouragement. I was a normal everyday dad, busting my ass, a CDL truck driver, and I got into podcasts because it's what I listen to and from. I mean, if you're in the truck for 2 or 3 hours, you're not sitting there switching a song. You're not even allowed to touch your phone. So I could download a 3 or 4 hour podcast for my commute, and I could listen to it the whole way. And I got these little bits and pieces of information. And to me, if you haven't listened to him, Rogan is one of those guys I'm always sitting back like, how does he do it? It doesn't matter what he's talking about, Dwayne. He knows a little bit of everything. He's so well-rounded.
Right.
I have seen some of the conversations. I think he's talked about men's rights and stuff sometimes where it doesn't seem like I think he gets it. But then again, he's not somebody that's going through it. But at the same time, he'll be like, man, I got a friend that went through a divorce. And just because he went through a divorce, they took everything from him. Rogan, this has happened to a lot of people. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to raise awareness. And I think we're doing it in a very equal way. And I guarantee you this. I would guarantee you this. It would be one of your bigger shows. Because when all these people that have been through family court see it.
Wait till Title 4D gets explained in that, that bite size where it's understood. Because again, all these people talk about, family law and, the family laws are correct. Once they figure out the reason that Title 4D and all the other little pieces, and it's explained to them in a way that they understand, it's going to, minds will be blown. And that's what happens. The first time you were told about Title 4D, it was like,
thank you, Jason.
What the heck is that? And, the second time you were talking, someone told Title 4D, and then hopefully you saw the cartoon I made or the couple cartoons I made, and you went, oh yeah, okay, this is how it all works together. It takes time. But if Mr. Rogan, were to have you on and you could talk about the Title 4D, just imagine all of his viewers, because again, we scratched the surface with a number of people that are, impacted, that do show up, and thank you again for showing up. Imagine the guy in his truck driving down the road that hears Title 4D, why he's driving, working 20 hours a day.
Makes money off of my paying child support and my family being destructed. That's what you're going to see. That's going to be the cataclysm that comes with it. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of these things that we could do, guys. It's just a matter of lack of funds. I hate to say that it's the unpopular thing to talk about, but it is a lack of funds. It costs a lot of money to do these things. Okay. But we could pull off so much more. And I wish we could just get that one big push, Dwayne, and say, sit back, strap in. You're about to see it. Because what I think is you need to see this conversation on news every single day. Every time you turn on the media, here's something about family court. Here's something about this, Title 4D, CPS, and just flood the media like it's never been flooded before. And I'm telling you, we could do it. It's just we don't get the VAWA funding. Okay. We are fighting billions and billions of dollars with pennies. And I don't like being the guy to get on, hey, give me this. I'm not doing that, man. I'm not. Anyway, yes, Mike mentioned Tucker, getting back on media, guys. There is more and more people that are talking about the fatherless issue. We discussed this last night. And what you don't realize, there's a lot of people that cheer. Oh, yes, they're talking about fatherlessness. Yes. And they don't even realize how much worse they're making the situation because of the narrative of the deadbeat dad. When you don't tell people why dads aren't in the home, what's causing them to not be there, you allow the narrative to grow. Because when they hear that there's absent fathers or that there's these fatherless statistics, they think it's dads just not stepping up to the plate. Why are you so afraid to mention family court? Because I can tell you, you got numbers behind there. It didn't become a multi-billion dollar industry because dads aren't fighting. These are guys that are fighting and giving everything that they've got. And when you talk about fatherlessness and you don't tell people what's causing it, you're feeding this bullshit narrative that is keeping these dads down. You're not helping the fatherless narrative. You're making it worse. And I know, you know what? I'm not taking shots at these guys. I know you're probably trying to do a good thing. You think you are. But there's some of the stuff behind the scenes, Dwayne. Every time they talk about it, they make it worse. And then you're going to hear it when the school shootings happen. Oh, the fatherless statistics. One of the most biggest common denominators is that dad's not in the home. Why aren't they in the home? Yeah. Now you're making it look like dads are absent fathers, plus they're the reason that their kids are going crazy. Yeah. Now you just threw more on the narrative. Yeah. It pisses me off, man. Guys, wake up.
Yeah, you got to be able to explain the why, because again, you're talking to people, and this is the issue. Is I'm in the technology industry, so I use acronyms and all that stuff. And if I were to talk to people that aren't in it every day, they're going to have no idea what I'm talking about. Same thing with this. When you talk about the bang bang that occurred, I'm trying to be sensitive with the language because I don't want you to get deplatformed. But with the bang bangs that occur around the country and all these things, and you say fatherless, that's the reason it happened. Everyone that's not entrenched in this goes, oh, so basically dads check, because again, that's the narrative they've been given for decades. Oh, so dads check out, they're even worse. They're the thing. You don't say, well, no, the dad fought to be in the kid's life. He spent everything he could ever possibly own on it. The courts, allowed all this to happen. Oh, and by the way, they profit off of this, in the billions of dollars. That's the narrative. That's what should be explained, not just it's a fatherless issue.
Okay, so there's a couple of people on here saying that they're trying to buy shirts. Maybe I need to tell our people about that more than anything. Facebook message my secretary. Maybe she can find out what's going on. It is really crazy how they do that. So if anybody's done this in the past, I want to apologize. If somebody buys a T-shirt on Facebook, which I think was like 3 times last year because I'm never asking for money, they don't give me a notification like to my email or something that somebody just purchased something. So it'll sit there for a month or two, and then somebody reaches out, Eric, you're not sending me my stuff. I'm like, I didn't know you got anything. Message me. Message me. It's the best way. I promise you. We'll make sure that we get this stuff out. But
the website might be another.
We probably need to get that on the website, guys. I'll get some more of this stuff going. My honesty is, Dwayne, I probably need to push this stuff more. I know what these guys are going through.
Yeah.
But it's also the other side of the equation. Until we've got it, there's only so much we can do. So you guys might see me get a.
Uh-oh. I think we lost you in audio.
That is crazy, man. My microphone cut off. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Those now people, them lawyers, they're getting in.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, for some reason, give me 1 second. Talk for a second, Dwayne.
I will talk for a second. The T-shirts. The website, dadtalktoday.com. There actually is a section up there for merchandise, for merch for young folk. I'm not sure if it's ready to the complete process. We'll have to get that set up. But at the end of the day, it's one guy. I mean, trying to do as much as he can. Actually, I saw Eric Brunhammer also, who is Dwayne. I'm just some old nerd. No, I'm a fan that gets to live the dream. I'm the guy that got brought up on stage and given a guitar and get to jam out. This is awesome. But I do run my I say run my own. I have my own site, pissedoffparent.com. It's exactly what it is and how you would think of it. And I attack it from, if you're looking for data and things like that, that information is there, because over the years I've been collecting all this information. I'm trying to figure out where to put it. So it's there. I hate to hype my own stuff. Cause again, I don't like when people get on here and say, hey, go to my site and check this out and all that stuff. But, pissedoffparent.com. It would be a place you can see, videos and get data that we talk about here. But yeah, thank you. Yeah. For wanting to follow.
And that's been one of the biggest problems in the movement, if I'm being honest with you, Dwayne. I mean, if we had as many people showing up and supporting as we had organizations, I have never seen a movement so fractured and splintered in my life. There is no shortage of parental alienation, child support pages. I mean, you guys just look it up. So many different ones. And these same people will reach out and say, hey, Eric, will you repost about my organization? If I did that, I wouldn't have no time in the day. All the people asking, post this, post this, post this. And I'm like, where the hell are you? We've been sitting here busting our ass. But could you just show up and support? Or are you trying to reinvent the wheel? I don't want to be doing this. But right now, we've got some traction. Could you not just show up and support? But that is a problem that we see with the movement. We're going to get off of some of the behind the scenes. I will tell you, and this is funny. Be watching your credit cards, because dadtalktoday.com is back up. Dwayne got it going. But let me tell you what happened to me. I noticed not long ago I was missing $1,000 in my banking account. And that's a big chunk for me, because I don't ever really have much more than that in there. And I was like, what in the world's going on? Somebody magically had got my account and had bought $1,000 worth of dog food going to Hollywood, Florida. $1,000 worth of dog food. So I had to call up and I was like, I didn't buy that in dog food. Luckily, the company that got the order, the red flags went off and they contacted me and said, you ordered $1,000 worth of dog food? And I was like, no. And so I lost my card and I had to get a new card, which then the website didn't get paid for, guys. So, and really, social media is where everybody follows us anyway. So the page has been a little bit secondary, but we're going to try to get a little bit more going over there. So check that out. So we're getting off of that and we're going to get back into these calls. But really quick, I've talked about the Republican Party. I have talked about the Democrat Party. Let's get on to the Libertarians for a second. Eric Brunhammer said, I think he could have a great talk with Spike Cohen as well. So I've interviewed Spike. And I interviewed libertarian candidates for president. I will tell you this. Spike Cohen is one of the most educated people on this subject that I've talked to, Dwayne. That guy knows the incentives, the federal incentives, unlike anything you've seen. If you go on Dad Talk Today, look up Spike Cohen. I interviewed him when I was up in South Dakota. That guy, he should be the one running for president with the Libertarians. And if he could ever get in a debate with some of these guys, I think Spike could wipe the floor with them. Unfortunately, the Libertarian Party can't seem to get their crap together.
Yeah. Who is, gosh, I cannot remember his name, and it'll be Lamb Basics. I can't remember his name, but I think it was a presidential candidate from, I think, 2006. Can't remember his name, but I have videos. I was trying to find them where he's been interviewed for equal shared parenting and fighting for equal rights and all that, and very supportive. Yeah, Libertarian Party, very supportive for obvious reasons. It's a Libertarian Party. Less government, equality. Absolutely. I mean,
dude, somebody was talking about Ron and Rand Paul. Dude, all right, I'm not going to get on my favorite politicians out there. Those are good guys.
Yeah.
I think Ron.
Actually, it was Ron.
Yeah, I think Ron would have made a great president. We're going to get back into the voicemail. 762-441-0281.
Hey, Eric. Good morning. My name's Robert Ramos, and I'm calling from San Diego, California. And I just want to say that I'm a new listener. Started listening on Thursday, and it's ironic that Thursday you mentioned something about the COVID pandemic when people were worried about domestic violence and stuff. Well, anyways, I was a victim of that. Went to court. Child was removed from my care. Went to court, and my paperwork sat in there because it was all backed up for 5.5 months. Well, 4 days before my court date, they sent all my paperwork back to my house because I was missing a cover page on one of my declarations. Well, just because of that, the default judgment was filed against me, and pretty much custody was removed from me. And now I'm back on that uphill battle, fighting for my child's custody back. I'm a great dad here. Daughter loves me and misses me. And just because of that minor little mistake, I had all my custody removed. And that's how corrupt the systems are here in San Diego, California. Just wanted to voice my opinion, and I love your show and look forward to seeing more of them. Have a great day.
Thanks, man. Dude, Dwayne, what's your thoughts on that one?
Trigger moments. And this is indicative of how corrupt the system is. So, he was fighting for equal rights. Of course, the Title 4D and the, having to fight and all those different pieces in there. He doesn't format the cover page correctly. So the whole thing kicks out. While on the flip side, you've got attorneys that are goofing up stock default or stock orders. All you gotta do is, plug and play the names in there, and the judge is helping them write the order while in court. I mean, you have on the other side, you have those things being allowed to go through because, again, it feeds the system. And then you got a guy over here that, he goofed up the cover page because he apparently he didn't have the formatting correct and all that. And they take his, losing your custody because you can't get because the cover page is goofed up. Are you kidding me? I mean, if there's not a better example of how much the courts just don't care and are all about the money, I mean, this should, it should be a prize on there. Oh God, this stuff disgusts me.
It does, man. I knew the second that I heard about COVID too, what was going to end up happening. That was like a gift from God for an alienator. Because all I gotta say is, they got exposed to it. They can't come see you.
Yeah, well, in Texas, Governor Abbott, and I'll keep all my comments about Mr. Abbott to myself for right now. He did offer a declaration saying, "I'm trying to be nice," but they had a declaration that said that COVID cannot be used. Or was it Abbott or was it Paxton? Again, names. I think it was Abbott. But there was a declaration that cannot be used to stop people from doing custody exchanges. Didn't really do anything, but sounded good.
Yeah.
So
everything's meant to sound good.
Yeah, but COVID was good in a way because we had obviously the issues with court watching. Putting those things on YouTube really opened up until they slammed the door shut when they started. Because before they would just do this on their own, and all this horrible stuff in the courtroom. And then they, not really, I guess, realizing it was going to catch on, but they had, they started putting stuff on YouTube. Most judges did, some didn't, even though they said they would. And then people start seeing what was happening, and the judges started freaking out, going, "Oh crap! People are seeing what complete asshats we are." And then they, started shutting it down. But it was good in that respect, because we got there was a number of court cases I was able to see that there was no other way I could have driven there to see it. But court watching is a right. We have open courts where the people can go in and watch what's happening.
That's a good point. I agree with that, man. I remember that's when we had the courts open up more than ever online when that was going down. Mm-hmm. A lot of them ended up on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. So they should be. It should. If you're going to bring, this impacts the public. We should have those things out there where people can watch them and see what's going on, making sure these jury trials. We have a murder trial down here right now. It's being televised, as it should be. So we can see what is going on in our courts. So whenever they offer whatever verdict it is, we see what happened. There's no misunderstanding, and the public should know. Why do the family courts get a pass? I mean, I know why, but more of a rhetorical question.
Yep, guys, thank you for being with us. Like, share, subscribe. We're going to keep these voicemails rolling. 762-441-0281. Have you left yours? We want to hear from you.
Hi, good evening or good morning. Well, depending on where you're at, because I'm in a weird time zone. I'm in Japan. Yeah, my name is Mary. I'm currently in the military, and I'm serving in the military. Well, I'm in Japan. Yeah, it's 1 a.m. over here. I'm sorry. Yeah, the reason why I'm calling, because I want to make a quick comment about, because I've read the title, the event title that no father should fight for their kid. Well, I have to agree with you, and I think the best way to really strengthen this movement is if they get in contact with kids who are actually affected by the family court system. Like, take me for an example. Back in back in 1990, my parents divorced. And despite the fact that my dad has a stable job and my mom doesn't, the family courts, they immediately awarded custody of my sisters and me to her. And living with her was hell. Like, she beat the shit out of us when we were kids, and for 7 years until we finally got taken away from her in 1997. And what's worse is that my mom even disobeyed the court order for visitation rights to my dad, so she didn't let us visit our dad. But all that changed when we got taken from her. And after everything that we reviewed to the courts, that's when the courts finally decided to listen to us and to my father, and my father immediately got awarded custody. And even though my mom, she did everything she could to take us back, but unfortunately for her, the law went on my dad's side now. So yeah, I thought I'd give you a brief comment, brief information. So I highly recommend that they get in contact with children get in contact with adults who were affected by these family courts as children. So that way, not only will the courts finally listen to us, that they'll finally listen to dads and realize that just because he's a father doesn't mean he's a deadbeat. He's just a father who loves his kids. And yes, there are bad fathers, but there are bad mothers too, and my mom was one of them. And I don't want any child to fall. I mean, and it saddens me that this happens, not only to children, also to good dads. All right, that's all I got to say. So, all right, you take care and God bless you.
I want you to message me on Dad Talk. You need to get that story out. I got some questions for you, and it's going to be much more than a voicemail. But I heard the pain, and I mean, this is a caller that's calling in from Japan, guys.
1 a.m.
Yeah, calling in from Japan.
This impacted
to get that story out. Listen to that pain. She said, you know, I got alienated from my dad, and we went through living hell. I look at the movie. It reminds me of the movie Misery. We've talked about that before. Here you are. You're stuck in this situation, and how dare you challenge me on anything? I think I could tell behind the pain. There's no telling what doors have been closed on that because she doesn't want to open them. And it is very brave of you to be doing what you're doing right now. I know the time zones might be a little hard to match up, but get in touch with me. I want to do a full episode on that. I want to talk to you. What's your thoughts on hearing that, Dwayne?
Well, I'm getting triggered left and right here. And, you know, I got to say this, being on the show here, which has been an honor, it's been therapeutic for me. There's things I haven't thought about. You know, she talked about, you know, the father, you know, father being alienated, the mother doing all these horrible things, beating the crap out of her. You know, I guess another real moment here when my parents got divorced after a number of years, and there was a lot more to it that, you know, 20 episodes like I'm sure everyone else has, but in our court records, you know, it talked about you know, and they were trying to give custody back to my mother, but in the court records and all the other information, there was one incident that just kind of hit me where she tried to stab me. I was about 12 years old, and there had been beatings and
your mom
like that. My mom, yeah, and it's stuff I haven't thought about in a while. But anyway, going through that, and so yeah, just a lot. With that, I mean, again, to get trigger warning. Going through those things, the pain and what you live with. And you know, that's probably why she called in at 1 a.m. That stuff stays with you.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, my heart goes out to her for a million reasons. You know, the narrative is that all dads are bad, all moms are good, and there was a lot on both sides. And there's a lot of stuff there. I try to have to package that in.
Mandalorian on here. The comment of the mother and her being abusive made me cringe. That was my mother. I wish I could hug her. I went through this. Dad being kept away and mom being abusive.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, because in this situation where you got this person that wants control, I mean, they don't just do that. This is a very big common misconception that parental alienation is only like when it's involved with a parent. No, guys. You have no idea what the kid goes through. right? They have that same control and that's those same tricks. And this kid is locked in that house with this person that if you challenge me or you do what I want, I'm going to get in there psychologically and I'm going to do other things. One of the first red flags that's not talked about enough. If you end up getting a relationship with guys and they start putting a wedge between you and your family, they put a wedge between you and your friends, they put a wedge between you and anybody that you care about, if they would keep you away from those people that you love, they will keep you away from your kids. Okay.
That's what they do.
They play these tricks and it is very, very evil. I should have caught on to it. I remember like even talking to my ex, she's like, I have a tendency if I date somebody, like their family gets all into pieces. And she would admit it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't want to go into that one too much personally, but there are these signs there. There are these. I watched me, Dwayne. I've lived here on the property with my mother my whole life, dude. We've always been close. And I know we're talking about that. I love my mom. She just got a surgery. I was down there changing her diapers, taking care of her, and trying to be a good son because that's what we should do for our parents. I love her just as much as I love my dad. Okay. But we've always been close. And then during this relationship, me and her didn't talk for 6 months. Wow. And it wasn't just her. It was my brother, my sister. And I told you, like when my dad died, we didn't have any of those fusses. We came together. We're a loving family. We've always been close. But there was a wedge being drove between me. One time, the relationship only lasted 9 months. I'll give you a crazy one. I'm a musician, but I gave that up a long time ago to be a dad. And I had a guy that was selling a drum set at work and he was going to do it for like $200. And I love that. That's something I can just put my headset on, like, damn it, I'm going to take this out on you cymbals. You know what I mean? And, but I was wanting to play with somebody. I haven't been in band in like over a decade. So I had a buddy. He was like, Eric, let me come over and play guitar with you. And I told her,
were you like, scared that, cause I had that where like when he said, hey, let me come over and you're like, oh.
Yeah, because let me tell you, it gets worse. This is the only time in that 9 months that I did anything outside of the relationship with a friend. It lasted for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours. And I was afraid the whole time I was out there, like on pins and needles. When I got done, looked at me and said, this is why we can't ever do anything together, or because you don't put enough time on us. You're always spending time with your friends. It was one of those moments, Dwayne, is like.
And you're sitting there like.
First time, 9 months.
Happened?
This is the only time I've done anything with a friend. And you know what? You need time with your friends. You know, if you're in a relationship, my wife, if she wants to go and stay off with her friends for a weekend or something and go and do, I don't care. That's the way a relationship should be. When I'm around the country and I'm fighting for dad talk, she supports me. But this one time, 2 hours just to play. Dude, this is what I'm talking about. It's not just the parental realm. Those kids are going through that same mental torture as well, dude. Okay. I remember one time there was another son, all right, from a different dad that had passed away. And they let him, I couldn't believe it, let him stay with me one time. Every 5 minutes, calling on the phone. Are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. Are you sure? Yes, I'm okay. Are you sure? Yes, I'm okay. Have you ate? Yes, I ate. What are you doing? I'm sitting here playing video games. Are you sure you're okay? 5 minutes later, are you okay? And that was when I started getting those things. It was like, whoa, what is going on here, man? What is going on here? I know there's people understanding this right now.
There should be a lot of triggering going on here for the folks that are on. There gotta be.
I've got to cut off to it because I'll end up, it's triggering for me, dude. But this is something, look, it goes beyond the parent. There's grandparents, there's aunts, there's uncles, there's friends, and so many people get affected by this dynamic. You know what? And then once they run them away, it's just them and the kids because nobody else wants to deal with it. So now it's the kids that are going to get all that negative attention. And a lot of times they like to homeschool because they want to control everything. That was where my problem came with homeschool. Not because I believe that the schools do a better job, but because those kids need a break. sometimes, man. All right, going in a different direction. You got something to add to that, or you want to get on to the next voicemail?
You know what? I'm feeling a little like bipolar. I'm like the ups and downs because again, I hear these stories and I know I'm smiling and joking, and that's part of my coping. Is again, I'm naturally a kind of try to be a happy person, but that's that was my coping skills growing up. So here I am, 50 years old, still doing the same things. But yeah, every one of these calls, I tried my best because again, hopefully everyone on here knows that's what we do. We hide it, we hold it in, we don't talk about it, we don't let it out. And I got to tell you, I mean, some of these things, while it's painful as hell, this 50-year-old fart, it's therapeutic. Thank you. For letting me do this, because this is all good.
Oh, dude, I've been enjoying it, man. I mean, like, it's hard. I'm not enjoying it from what we're talking about, but just the fact that it feels like we can come in, talk, no matter how crazy we think the story is, and there's people out there that say I understand, because many of us sit there and fight those wars in our head thinking that nobody understands us, because a lot of people don't. To know there's people that say you didn't deserve that. We understand. Yes, it was crazy. We should be able to do it, but it is triggering at the same time. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I mean, I built this platform to do exactly this, for these guys to be able to vent. The problem with that, Dwayne, is it's what I wish I would have had. I'm still going through it too, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes my trauma plays out on the screen. I've seen when you talk about your dad or when you talked about your mom, and there's one of those, we've had to put up these walls.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for allowing us to break down those walls sometimes. And we're getting therapy as we're doing it with you. Okay. This is, I love my brothers, man. I love my brother. I love my ladies in here too. And thank you for encouraging these conversations and then allowing us to do this. Thank you for being here. And I hope you guys continue to show up. Keep the calls coming in. That one was definitely, 762-441-0281.
Hey, Eric. This is Aaron from California. I'm just calling in because I'm listening to you guys' live show. Just wanted to say, I think the last caller mentioned about how women in the U.S. and Western women in general just don't have the right values anymore like they used to. I mean, I've traveled the world since losing my kids, and I've dated around and stuff, and man, it's a day and night difference between dating a girl from Brazil to dating a girl back in the States, man. They are more feminine. They are more submissive. In the sense, like, they take care of the home. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to ask them, hey, like, this dish is in the sink. They kind of already know, like, because they're adults themselves, like, if they see that we just got done cooking, she'll work the dishes. If I'm cleaning something else, she'll clean something else sideways too. But yeah, I think it's more of a cultural thing. The thing with my ex is her mom essentially groomed her into using and abusing the system. Like, she knew when to scream DV, she knew when to do whatever to get ahead of the other person, essentially. And it's really sad to see that, because I really do feel my ex did have a good heart at one point, but like, she's now about the money. She's had 3 exes and ex baby daddies, who essentially she's used for their money too. And of course they lie about it, like, oh, he was the abuser, so on, until you realize, like, when it's happening to you, like, maybe those guys weren't the bad guy. She didn't need saving. She was the one causing the trouble. As soon as she got bored or whatever, the guy decided not to be submissive to her. She hit him with a DV charge, or she hit him with a child abuse charge, and the court system just eat that up. And they don't look at the patterns. Like, most people look at patterns and stuff and think, hey, this girl has had 3 partners, 3 baby daddies. Each time she's claiming abuse, there must be something going on here, but then they look at a guy like myself, clean record, 30 years plus, no issues with the law, whatever, then all of a sudden I get with this one girl and it's just a problem. He must be the monster, not the fact that I make more money, that I take care of the kids, that I have to do the psychologist and stuff, that, like, I am an actual good father, like, even the therapists were like, hey, the kids should go with dad, and the court systems are like, nope, especially the child minors council. Those guys are the most corrupt. But yeah, I agree 100%. Child support should not be paid by the father. Hey, Eric, this is Eric.
I cut him off there. I got several different things I want to talk about with that guy. There's cases where you've seen 7 or 8 different baby daddies, and they end up getting custody and they're getting child support from every single one. At what point in time do we say there's a common denominator? You can't go always straight across the board with that. I mean, hey, look, I'm at third time's a charm, Dwayne. I've been through several of them too. And that was one of those things when I very first got back out in the dating pool. I was like, I got these different babies, mamas. People are going to think, oh God, he must be trouble or whatever. And it's like, but when you hear the story, when you find out, hey, there was affairs going on, or there was something, domestic violence going on, you don't want to just take that at the surface. But at some point, now he's talking about 3 different failed relationships where there was supposed abuse going on in all those different relationships. We should be throwing some red flags.
Red flag on the play. Yeah.
The other side of that, he's talking about how the women from other countries are different. Ladies, American ladies, I want you to hear this. Okay? Because we can help change that narrative too. I know what he's talking about, Dwayne. My wife now is Korean. She was born in America, but her mom has got that traditional Korean thing, and she raised her up in that. And he's talking about being submissive. It's not saying do everything that I tell you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I had this conversation with my mom actually the other day, believe it or not. And we was talking about, if men have adultery or women have an adultery or whatever. And I was like, but Mama, you got to understand, all men want sex. It's like, it's a hard topic to talk about. But if you marry somebody and that is who you're supposed to have sex with, okay, and then they go 6 months,
ideally
not sex with you. Hey, dude, I've heard of cases where the guy's like, I haven't had sex in 3 years. Or you get in that relationship, which is very big with American women. If you want this is what I want you to do. You're going to go through these list of chores and you're going to do this. And they're using that as a reward more than they are that intimacy that's supposed to be going on between man and wife. And in submissiveness, there's going to be times you might say, I don't want it. But if my partner's doing that, they're a good partner. I mean, it's just one of those conversations that we don't have. But if they're not having it with their partner, what are they? You know what I mean? I hate it. I mean, I couldn't imagine being one of those guys, especially when my testosterone's going and you're saying 3 years later, oh, and if you want to do this, you're going to have to buy me a car. You're going to have to buy me a diamond ring or something like that. And that's where I've seen that traditional Korean upbringing was different. My wife supports me. She supports my role in the house, submissive, not in the, you do everything I say, because dude, shoot, she can snap back too, But it's different than any relationship I've had from any American woman. And I'll say, I believe it's American feminism that we're actually talking about right now. It's not the women. It's the way that the narrative against men has played out. And that feminism's told them anything a man can do, you can do better. You can be a strong, independent woman. You don't need a man. You don't need this. And they have really fueled the destruction of the nuclear family with that and made these women think that, man, you don't really need them. You don't really need them. Even though it takes 2 people to make a kid. You don't really need them.
Yeah. Yeah. Stunning and Brave. Yeah. Wife and I, we watch 90 Day Fiance. It's been a long running series. And that's where men and women go overseas to find a mate. It's gotten interesting over the years. It started out, wholesome and all that. But as the time has went on, I sit there and I'm like, oh yeah, she's a narcissist. She's because he is, or that, or they're lying, or, all these weird things. But yeah, men are going overseas, trying to find, because again, most men want that traditional equal relationship, man and woman, and not deal with the stunning and brave, and I'm better than you, and you're a clown, and I'm going to do this and treat you like crap. We just want equality. And, as far as the submissiveness, I would say, where that word came from, go look it up in the original language and review that. I know people use it for the wrong reasons, or try to say, submissive means you do everything I say. If, I'll expect my dinner to be right here. That's not and never has been what that means. And I hate that, people have either, tried to use it that way or whatever, however they've used it. But all that means is, my wife and I, when we have a discussion, we have an equal partner discussion, and I'll bring her up right now. She'll sit here and tell you the same thing. It's a equal sit down. What do you think? Because again, I'm a guy. I take stuff from a guy's perspective. If it was my choice, well, actually, this room is a result of my choice. So I'll just drop my mic on that one. I'm sure every woman and everything would look at that and go, "Oh my God, he got sores in the wall, you dork."
Can I address an elephant in the room? I've been using that phrase a lot, but there's ladies that are watching this, and I want you to be completely honest. Feminism has taught them, that you're strong, you're independent, and if you're in that relationship, you basically say what goes is what happens. What woman wants a submissive man that says yes to everything, doesn't challenge her, and that acts like a beat up puppy dog? Here's the thing. Ladies want masculinity too, whether they know it or not.
50
ladies
Shades of Grey.
Yes, they want masculinity too. And a lot of these guys think happy wife, happy life. So I've just got to do everything. And how many, let's take this, for example. How many relationships have you seen that a woman ends up going off with a guy that has nothing to offer? And she had this husband that worked hard. He gave her the house. He gave her the car. He did everything that she wanted, but she wanted to go after the guy that had nothing, that treats her like crap. We've seen it. We've seen it because he was a challenge, right? And he pushed back. A lot of people don't make sense of that. Women want masculinity too. Unfortunately, feminism has emasculated the man. And you know what, ladies? You're not liking it either. Tell me that you are. I mean, no woman wants that emasculated man. Dude. Now.
I got a meme that says, that men are trash and blah, blah, blah. And it shows Kermit drinking some tea. And it says, well, y'all have had primary custody for the last 30 years. Whose fault is it? I mean, if you got girls raising guys, you're going to get emasculated women or men. That's the way it's going to be. I'm still old school. I hold open doors and things like that. I mean, I don't think my wife again, I'm going off on a tangent. So I open the door for my wife no matter where we go. She is perfectly capable of opening that damn car door by herself. And this is what I'm trying to get at. She is able to do it, but a man, we protect. It's our honor to protect our spouses. And that's why I open the door for her. That's why I do, certain things. That's why she does certain things for me.
You put the toilet seat down, Dwayne.
Okay. Someone paid you off. That is a continual battle. I've used logic on that.
Yeah, you put the toilet seat down. Let me ask you, how many times was it pulled up for you?
Well, that's what I was going to get at. That's what part of my logic is, that. And what's funny is
I'm playing this for it.
Speaking in the toilet arena here, we have an ongoing battle. She does it just, she has her bathroom and I have my bathroom, and that's a whole other topic. Well, she's like, I'm not going in after you, but she purposely, and I hope she's listening right now because she knows it grates my gears. She purposely puts the toilet paper on upside down the wrong way. And and I'll go in there and I'll flip it over, and she'll go into my bathroom and flip it over. And we just have that fun. That's, it's part of our relationship, but toilet seat down. That's an ongoing battle. You know what? I've had the 2 a.m. oopsie moment where I went, had some lasagna that's not agreeing with me at 2 a.m. and I've had the wet tushy. So I leave it down now. So she was right.
One of the greatest inventions of the modern century is now they're making bathrooms and their toilets in their own rooms. It's got the fans and everything in them. Thank God. I remember the old days where you had to light matches. And nobody wants to walk in there. I don't care, man or woman, after that's been blown up. They just don't. So, this is how quick we can go off subject, though, man. And you know what? A lady said, yes, I want my husband to be in charge of things. Yes. Guess what? And us men want that out of our women, too. We want them to say they are confident in their role and push back at us when we need it. But at the same time, nobody should be completely just serving one person. It's happy spouse, happy house, not happy wife, happy life. Happy wife, happy life is destroying this generation, right? It has. And it's destroying your husbands. It's going to destroy your sons. Maybe they look at it a little bit different than they do with the husband, but when it becomes your baby, okay, when it becomes him that's going through this, maybe you'll look at it in a different light. I do want to go. This is going completely back in the other area, but this is
the toilet.
This is a great conversation because I don't think we've dipped into it until last night, and then we talked a little bit about today. Yes, getting away from the brown bomber. Hunter Youngblood said, homeschool happened to me for control. I spent over $250,000 in family court. Finally, she is in school, freshman. I have seen this be the thing. Not only homeschool, but one of the main things that would be used against a guy to alienate them and to not let them have time with their children. I've got to breastfeed.
I've got my Bobs to the yard. Yeah.
And then homeschool becomes that thing. I want to homeschool my kids, so I can't work, and I've got to be here the whole time. I'm going to sleep until 10 or 12 o'clock every day, right? And my kid isn't learning. I mean, dude, I've seen it. They will use it as an excuse.
Yeah.
There is, just like there should be receipts for child support. Show me where you're putting in the time with that kid and that you can't get out there and do this. But homeschool has been a way that people have been alienated. I have nothing against homeschool. I think parents do teach their kids better. I flipped on that one, but he said, finally, she is in school. That ticks me off, man, because they'll hide behind these things. Like I said, breastfeeding all the time. I see it. They can't come over because I got to breastfeed. You're telling me you can't pump? Oh, well, there is a connection that the child has with the nipple and everything. I've heard it all, dude. And it's just ways that they can use the system. As much as you think they need the Bobs and they need that breast milk, they need that daddy.
It's scientifically proven. We have the data. They form a bond with the father. They do an important bond. And if we want to go I've got the Bobs and I get this, you know what? At a certain age, pretty young, actually, they actually have more of a connection with fathers. They actually do better overall with the father as they get a little bit older. So, if you want to carry that argument, okay, we'll carry that argument out.
Yep, there's you guys getting triggered. He said, the breastfeeding excuse, 3 months, then 6 months, then 1 year. Now she went to Jen's, the kids over to daycare. I've heard of some that goes up to like 5 years old, dude.
Yeah.
5 years old.
Diapers.
Oh my God, dude. So many different things. We're going to get into one more voicemail. And I tell you what, then we're going to come back in because there's been some great comments in here that we can have conversations around. And you do anything later on tonight, Dwayne?
No, I'm here.
You guys want a twofer tonight? You want us to go live at 8 p.m.? Huh? If we come on here, are you going to show up? Because I'll just do a replay if you say I can't do it later. But if you'll show up and you'll bring a friend and you'll do this, hey, let's do it. Whoever shares, subscribe, and tags the people down in these comments. And I'll say the same thing for later on with tonight's podcast. We'll get one of those T-shirts out to you guys. So if you'll show up, we'll show up. And in order for us to show up, because you see how we structure the show around you guys. This is not, even though it's these two guys that are yapping, it's your voices that are being elevated. So we want your voices on here when we do this. So keep those voicemails coming in. 762-441-0281. 762-441-0281. Well, Eric, my story is complex. I want people to hear my story. There is your chance. Let's hear it. And then there's going to be times like when I heard that lady talking about being abused by her mom, I'm going to get them on here for a full episode. I promise you. But we are trying to get to as many people as we can. So if you promise you'll show up and you get those voicemails in, just like we did last night, we will be back. Keep them rolling. Here comes our next caller.
This is Cody Joseph Foltz, Centerville, Michigan. All right. You want to talk about child support? All right. $30 an hour. All right. I just quit this job. I was making $30 an hour for a whole year. Okay. That's good money. $0 checks. It cost me money to go to work. I have a whole year's worth of paycheck stubs to prove it. So they literally would take my whole paycheck stub, like every dime I had. $30 an hour. That's 40 hours a week, $1,200 gross.
And I'll just tell you, after that was some expletives. Cody, we saw it a little bit earlier on. I'm like, I get it. Like, if I was just sitting there talking to you, that's probably what I'd say. But I'm gonna cut it off because the dad talk. Guys, watch the F-bombs. And I'm not just messing with you, Cody, because we hear it. Here is $30 an hour, 40 hours a week, $1,200 he's bringing home, and he is having to lose money every month just to pay the child support. This is thievery, man.
Nothing but. I mean, and how can the courts, how can they be okay with that? But they don't care. And that's the thing that everyone has to wake up to. They don't, it's not they're okay or not okay, or they don't care. It's all about the money. And that's it. They don't care if you have to eat out of dumpsters, you die. They don't care. Money. And that's why we need to shoulder together. That's the only way we're going to fix it. Shoulder together and tell them, no, it's not happening anymore.
I'll actually go through a few more because I have faith that you guys are going to get us some more voicemails in. And I appreciate that, Cody. If you want to call back in, give us a little bit more details about it. I think it got to the point he just started talking about it and he's like,
word vomit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. You want to know what I really think? Yeah, we get it. 762-441-0281.
I'm calling in regards to a post that you support. My name is Frank. I'm up in New York, and my thoughts on child support are very clear. Child support was not designed for a failed relationship. Furthermore, it appears I'm going in front of a child support magistrate within the past year and a half to be incarcerated for alleged arrears, which are not proper, just, or even correct. So in this land of equality,
it's cutting off.
Yeah.
Here is a guy that was
I got the gist of it.
And yeah, in arrears, and now he is being incarcerated for those arrears. I can imagine there's probably plenty more details going on behind that. But I mean, we lock people up for getting behind on child support. And what good is it? The government does that because they want to make sure that these guys are paying. But all you do is lock this gentleman up, and now you're paying for the 3 hots in the cot when he could have been out there trying to provide for his kids.
Yeah.
This is where the government's involvement just needs to get the hell out of there, dude. Really.
This is where you get the energy of some callers and the expletives and the energy that comes in sometimes, because they're okay. I mean, again, debtors' prisons gone in the 20s, and they're doing it again over some amount of money. I mean, there are people that have been put in jail for $100. The whim of the judge, or some other reason, who knows? But yeah, putting someone in jail because they can't pay, that makes taking their license away. You got a CDL truck driver, hitting home there. You're going to take away your ability to earn money. Now they can. It's weird because they can garnish your wages, so take that money from your job. But they're going to take. So they know they're going to get their money, but they take away your license. That just shows how stupid it is. But that's one of the check boxes for the incentives, and they care more about the incentives than to see that kid's taken care of.
Thank you for those stars, Mandalorian. You know what, dude? I haven't. I've told more of my story in the past couple of weeks than I ever have, and I've been holding back on a lot of it.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna dip down into it. I'll go back, like when I became a single dad out in the middle of nowhere and went through the divorce. I was $10,000 in debt. It took me forever just to be able to save the $400 to go get a consultation with a lawyer, Dwayne. And I was working 60, 70 hours a week. And you would have coworkers every once in a while, like, oh, here he goes riding the clock. Oh, Eric doesn't ever want to go home. He's just worried about that money. I'm like, hell yeah, dude, I got one income. You got 2 incomes at home. I got 2 mouths to feed, plus one that I'm about to have to fight for in court. And one I'm paying child support for. They don't take it in, but I went through that because I said, I got to do what I got to do to take care of my kids. And anytime that the boss needed something, I was the first one with my hand raised. Throw me in there, coach. Throw me in there. Whatever it is you need me to do, I don't care how hard the work is. I've got to make money. And I finally raised up that $400 so that I could go see that attorney. And dude, I mean, he basically said, you're a man. It was cheaper to keep her. And here's about domestic violence. Here's about all. And here's the crazy thing. He knew the family. And the first thing he told me was, you've got yourself in a crazy situation. They're crazy. This is the attorney tells me this, but he says, my best advice is go get back with her, because when you go through the court system, they're not going to treat you good as a father. Dude, then second attorney, 10,000 on retainer just to get started. Got a great case. I'll do anything. We'll get you anything you want. And we know that's bull crap. He was telling me what I wanted to hear, trying to get me to put in that retainer. So now you're sitting there working 60 to 70 hours a week, doing everything you can, trying to get ahead, and you can't fight in that system that they want you to. And then you'll be considered the absent dad with all these different stigmas. There's no resources. There's a lot of these guys, same like this, $30 an hour, working 40 hours a week, and he is losing money because of child support every month.
Yeah.
This is what the system has done to these days. They are nothing more than ATMs. They are nothing more than paychecks. And it's bullcrap. Guys that are working their ass off, man. I mean, working their ass off. And you know what's so bad, Dwayne, is they'll pay all this money. And then when you got that high conflict parent, they'll be over there on the other side receiving that money. You could give more.
Yeah. Oh, it's never good enough
for your kid. Or you don't ever see your kid. Hell no, I'm at work supporting your ass while you sit at home. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious. They'll sit there and go, you should do more. And, oh, you never want to see your kids. No, I'm working 80 hours a week, working my fingers to the bone, trying to make ends meet and pay this crazy child support. And then you want to say, oh, why don't you see your kid? I'm tired. I'm broke. My soul's been crushed, doing all this stuff to me. And this is because it's all about money. Oh, Eric figured out how to send stars. All right.
Yeah, guys, keep those coming in. I appreciate it. But yeah, man, it's just frustrating. It's like I'm out here doing everything I freaking can, busting my ass to the bone. And not only is the court's not recognizing it, because they just want me to come up with this figure. They don't care if you mortgage your house. They don't care if you don't. They say it's the best interest of the child. How many people have mortgaged their homes, sold their cars, and everything they had to fight for those kids? You're telling me that's the best interest of the child. They know that they're lying through their teeth, man.
Oh, yeah.
They know that they're lying through their teeth.
And they know the data.
Hardworking guys. And you're punishing. It's the crazy thing. You're punishing the good ones. You're punishing the hardworking ones. The ones that don't do jack, you don't touch them because you know you're never going to profit off of that. They're just a drain to the system. These are hardworking guys. And this is how you have built your courts.
Well, how many times, I mean, and comment in there, if you knew going into that law firm paying the retainer that you were going to get the standard possession order, the basic whatever, 90-ish percent of the time, would you have walked in and paid the $10,000 retainer, the $5,000 retainer, or whatever? Because that's, I mean, after it's all said and done, that's what happened. There's the individual rare case, 10% of the time where the equal shared custody, well, it's less than that, but equal shared custody or whatever happens. But just the standard, whatever they're going to throw at you. If you knew walking in, there was a 90% chance that no matter how much money you paid, you weren't going to get it, would you have done it?
And that's kind of where I'm at with it now, dude. And I've had people, you need to go to family court. I'm like, are you
the beast?
The people that will tell you how bad the family courts are, that promote it, that kind of sends a red flag too. There's a lot of people that make money off of this, guys. We're not the attorneys. We're going to tell you. Steve Jankowski, I've talked to him about this before because this was my personal situation. He was a dairy farmer. He said dairy crisis of 2009 was losing $15,000 a month, fell behind on support, had to sell needed equipment to pay arrears, ended year negative $150,000. I went to court to reduce, was made to feel like a loser, deadbeat. A lot of people don't know this, man. Kids aren't eating cereal like they used to. Okay. They're not. And then there was a lot of these independent farms, Dwayne, and I only say this because that was what I was in, and my industry went away, the dairy industry. There was a lot of these independent farms, and of course, as inflation is going up, it's costing more to get the milk, to transport it, to do all these different things with. Well, Walmart goes and makes their own milk processing plant.
Which
Let me show you. Okay, a lot of these, you want to talk about inflation and what's going on. Some of these big corporations have made it worse because now at one point in time, when the milk was costing them the most, and you could go to a store and a gallon of milk from this dairy was going to cost you $5 or $6 a gallon. Walmart's Great Value brand was right next to it for $1 a gallon at times. And I want you guys to understand that. Okay, which one are you going to get?
Guilty.
You're going to get the dollar one. They can't even make it for that cheap. But if I give you that cheap milk, it's the item that makes you come in the store because you're going to grab other things. So it becomes a loss item.
Leader. Yep.
So the milk became the loss item. And dude, $1 a gallon, I'll just buy 3 gallons because I got all these kids, you know, but am I going to pay $18 for those 3 gallons? No. So all of these companies and all of these farms started losing everything they had. And that's what I was. Before I was the ice cream man, I was a milkman. You want to talk about a job that'll bust your ass, man, sitting there hauling milk crates all day long. Yeah. And these dairy farmers are some of the hardest working guys out there, dude. I'm telling you, if you've never spent a summer on one of those farms, go out there. And here's this guy that gets punished and has to give away his business in a business that's already hurting. And then he's being told he's a deadbeat because he can't do more. I mean, like, how much do you got to bleed these guys dry? And I don't even know. I don't know, Steve, are you still in that business? Because the company I was at, it shut down. It's bankrupt. That milk company, it's gone. They sold out. And then our other dairy that we had just shut down like 3 months ago, man. So we have no dairy in this area. The kids don't even have school milk. That's how bad that industry got hurt. Milk. And that was why I had to find something else to get into because, I was a CDL driver, but I was a single dad too. I couldn't go over the road.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But if you tell child support that, at the point in time that I was trying to get to court, they would have went and based my child support off of a paycheck that no longer exists, Dwayne.
Yeah.
And they have no sympathy.
No. They have incentive, E. all they care about is money. They're not going to look at that and say, oh, you know, your industry's changed. You've lost money. We need to modify it. They don't care because, again, they will lose that. I mean, if they don't make more money year over year, they lose that pool of money. You know, Texas was $600 million. Every state's got their own, but they lose that money, and they're not going to do it.
Fair thing. Okay, so here goes a guy that was relating to my situation. Drew Littlefield. Hey, man, I like those guns, dude. You got to.
Gun show.
Yeah. He said, my salary was $73,000 a year where I worked. We got laid off and the judge still expects me to deliver the amount during a pandemic. Where's the fairness? There's the other part of that, Dwayne. December of 2019 is when my company went under. I got a paycheck until the end of January. COVID hit in February, right? So not only am I not got an industry to go back to, we're going through this and I'm not even getting a paycheck.
Right.
Thank God. There was a lot of people that took advantage of it. Thank God for unemployment.
Yeah.
Because it was the only thing that helped me keep my head above water. And you know what? I was a father that busted my ass for years. So I deserved it. I do believe that was a lot of the reason why we got some of this inflation. So many people sat there on the unemployment, and that's a whole other topic. But yes, if he would have went right then, you're only allowed so much on that unemployment, but you still got to pay this in the child support.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care, dude.
Nope.
This should be against the law. There should be lawsuits going out left and right for some of the unfairness that's going on inside of family court.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I remember, I became unemployed years ago for a period of time, and they had immediately zapped the 50% of what I got in unemployment. So I mean, you're unemployed, which means your income has been hurt already, and they're going to take more, take half of it where you get. Again, they don't care. They never have, and they never will. That's what this is all for them about. And again, it's not going to change until we lock shoulders and march forward and say we're not going to take it. It's not going to happen. You just love watching Drew's guns there, don't you?
Oh yeah. No, I'm trying to make sure that we give everybody a voice that we could possibly can. What podcast are you going to see? The basis of the content straight off of you guys. This is your movement. This is your movement. And that's why I say, like, if you're wanting to get involved, maybe right now it's just your voice. Get in here. We're going to echo it. And I thank all of you guys for being here because we are connected through this battle. Make no mistake. And crazy thing is, Dwayne, we've been going for 2 hours and 5 minutes now, and we've got more people at this particular point in time than we have. So thank you guys for being here. Like, share, subscribe. And then get in. You got the stars, you got the super chats. I appreciate everybody that's been doing those.
Yeah.
And get these buttons. I can't wait to see them on there. I mean, come on. Especially Mighty Mouse. I think that is such a good, I mean, it is. I mean, that's exactly what they are. Here I come to save the day. Keep the voicemails coming in, guys. 762-441-0281. This is going to be the last voicemail, but we might come back to the comments. 762-441-0281. Here we go.
Okay, so this is such a hard topic for me because I grew up with a single mother that did it on her own. And don't get me wrong, childs require money. But now I'm faced in the predicament where it's the opposite side. I'm the father, and I have child support. And it's hard for me watching how the pettiness was growing up and being able to just contribute to them. Now, don't get me wrong. I pay support, but it's so hard knowing that I took my one daughter to custody, $62,000 we fought for. 4 child custody battles, back to back to back. Sure enough, she wins. She takes her out of state. The system's kind of broken in PA, but I don't know. I'm at the point where I was petty as hell, and they're both owed taxes so far, or both owed child support so far back, and they both got me at least 2.5 years in jail. Well, at this point, even all my buddies that are like in the streets still doing dumb stuff, they're like, bro, your child still requires money, you gotta pay. So eventually my head's like, you know what? I do. So I'm taking care of one and not the other right now. I feel like such a scumbag. But I also feel like I'm paying a kidnapping fee because I have no problem paying everything if they would just allow me to have my kids at least 30-40% of the time. Not me have to give lawyers thousands of dollars to get an extra hour. This and that. So it's a hard subject. I don't know. I'm both sides of the fence with it. And maybe you guys can tell me which side you really think should be on. Because, hey, kids do require money. But then am I just giving her money to give her lawyers to keep me away? I have so much, like, what I do is I buy the shit that they need. I'll send it if they need it. If they're, like, at the doctor's, at a carnival, something like that. But I have no freaking clue. And I think the problem with our generation, or my generation, is we watched our fathers and our mothers do this with no book. They didn't know how to do it right or not. And we followed their footsteps. So what is the right way? Maybe we can all vote together. Maybe we can all see. But I feel like you got certain states, like PA is straight mother state. Jersey, you got a little bit better of a chance if you're in a family. But to be honest, or not a family, if you're in that state as a father. But I don't know. Maybe I'm young. Maybe I'm childish. Maybe I'm petty. I don't know. Okay, so this is such a hard topic.
Oh, it cut off there. Let me say something really quick. He just sat there. Maybe I'm young. Maybe I'm petty. Maybe I'm just stop beating yourself up, dude. Stop beating yourself up. You're sitting here processing emotions that you're going through in this broken system right now, but you're even still processing emotions from when you was a kid. Yeah. And you're trying to connect what you knew from then with what's going on now. He said, what's the solution? What is going on? One of the biggest things I would say right now, guys, and I want you to start promoting this because we need to start talking to the kids just as much as we're talking to the people inside of our own echo chambers. How does that make you look differently towards your dad now? Maybe this was a case that he just wasn't there, but now you see what you're going through as a dad. Have you asked yourself the question, Is it what I always thought? And that's going to be one of the hardest things to do, because you have to separate yourself from what you've always knew. This person that you love, this person that you trust, it becomes the best word, I think, is loyalty conflicts, because this person is somebody I love that took care of me, but can I step outside and try to get the truth? And what happens is these fathers are on such losing terms, because that kid does not want to separate from that. And all they know is that they wasn't there, and I don't have a relationship with this guy. So there's no loyalty for that kid to ask the questions for him. That's why I can't wait to talk to this lady and see what was it that made you want to reach out to your father after all of these years. But then I want you to ask yourself another question, guys. Here's one. Okay. Did your father have a father, or did he have a strained relationship? A lot of these guys, if they had an absent father, or they had a strained relationship with their father, when they become fathers, they are so scared, and it's no excuse, but they are so scared that they're going to turn out like their dad, that they just kind of detach from it. And that's where we need to come in with shows like this and say, yeah, dude, it's a challenge. You're going to go through things, but these kids need their daddies. Okay. And we need you to be there. You're going to make mistakes, dude. Dude, every single day, Dwayne, and this is liberating for me, because I mean, it empowers me. Every single day, I'm going to make a mistake as a human. I'm going to say something I shouldn't have said. I'm going to do something. I'll look back later and say, oh, I could have done that different, but that's okay, because every one of us are imperfect. Some people hide their imperfections better than others, but you need to be that father. And so that's a long way of saying, I don't know what went on with your dad, but if you don't know what went on with your dad, maybe you should find out too. Yeah. But you are not all those things that you're calling yourself. You are a guy that is a product of the system, and you're being gaslit right now. You don't even know what your reality is. That's what it does to you, operating the way it was designed. When you can't even hold on to what's going on up here, how the hell are you guys going to fight against this system and this movement? They're not just taking away your money. They're taking away your peace. They're taking away your character, your reputation, everything from you, your sense of mind, and putting you out here as just these recycle guys, damaged goods that don't know where to turn. We've got to start empowering our guys, our children, our fathers. Stop calling yourself those things. You're a human. You've probably made mistakes, but you're not those things that you're calling yourself. No, you're not. Go ahead, man.
I want to look in the camera and hope the family law industry, the entire thing, is listen to that call. That's what you've created over the decades. Is you've got, again, we don't know the specific situation. There's always two sides to a story, but you got a kid that grew up without a dad for some reason. I would encourage him to reach out, get some coffee with the guy, sit down, and find out what happened and rebuild that relationship. And yeah, you've carried all that baggage as a little kid growing up into your current relationships. And, another thing is just, stopping the cycle, because, that can't,
break it.
Break it the best you can.
Well, can you imagine? I think I was talking to you guys about this. Like, it's really made me go back into my own family's history and tried to find out the dynamics. If you find out your family's history, you find out why they act the way they do. And I've heard some of your situation, Dwayne, so I'm sure you've tried to dissect it. Okay. Like my dad, I had the perfect dad. He didn't drink. He didn't smoke. He didn't cuss. He wasn't a womanizer. He had a temper. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was his thing. He had a temper, and all of us have something, right? But I'll never forget, like 6'7", size 17 shoe. The guy didn't know his own strength. That was what was scary about him, because we like to roughhouse with our dads. You know, I love it, dude. I had all girls. You think I didn't get down on the carpet and wrestle with them just like I would a boy? I taught them to be tough, and I've seen them go up against boys, and I felt sorry for them because they were tough girls. Okay, and but that's what dads do. And I'll never forget, one day, I was maybe 4. Was wrestling with my dad, and he would always end up hurting me. He didn't mean to, but I saw these stripes on his back, and I was like, what are those stripes? And I found out, back then they got spanked. So that would be easy to say, oh God, man, I can't believe my grandfather would have done that. But then I go back, my granddad, 3 years old, The brother was 5 when his mom died giving birth on the operating table. Okay. Next day, dad takes him to the store, gives him a nickel a piece, and says, go in and get something. When they come back out, dad's gone. So now they don't have a mom. They don't have a dad. He goes around the streets. I'm just going to try to say this story as, as quick as I can. But when he was 16, he lied to the Army and told them he was 18. And so they let him in. When he got in, they found out, and instead of kicking him out, they sent him off to Bugle School, where he became the Bugle Boy of Company B. And yes, this was during World War II. That was my granddad.
Bugle Boy of your dad. The Bugle Boy.
Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B. Okay. So, yeah, he met the Andrews Sisters. They didn't know him when they wrote that song, but he was the real life Bugle Boy of Company B.
Wow.
Yep. But my grandma talked about when he came back from the war, because you can only imagine what they saw in World War II. You can only imagine, guys. And I feel so sorry for our veterans. But she said he would come home and just take his shoe off and start beating himself over the head. She'd be like, what are you doing? Now, later on, he became a pastor, became one of the softest, most sweetest men. If you saw Orville Redenbacher on the popcorn box, that was my granddad. And he didn't talk to you about his Army stuff. He was just an all-around good guy. But I go back and I look at that trauma. Like, could you imagine growing up back then? One of your parents dies. One of them abandons you. You lied to get into the Army. You have to go over there. And one of the worst wars that we've ever fought, there's no telling what they've saw. Now he's got to come back into civilian life and told to live a normal life, raise kids, And so there could be something going on in my generation right now that if we didn't address it and have this conversation, even though it wasn't our time, it's still here because there was that generational trauma that came through.
Oh, yeah.
And this is maybe not a very popular conversation, but learn where you came from. If you're in one of these situations with these high conflict people, what was their situation like? What did they grow up in? What chaos did they come from? What situations made them who they are? And I think it starts to make sense.
Yeah, you can, pick out, and then that helps you if you've had a failed relationship. Because if you grow up in a certain trauma with your parents, boys tend to marry their moms. And you may notice
nobody wants to admit that.
Yeah. I mean, men marry their moms and women marry their dads. I mean, there's certain pieces there that you do.
Dude, I don't want to get into it because I will murder it, but there is somebody you guys need to listen to, and he is a very polarizing figure. Some people love him, some people hate him, but on this particular subject, when you hear him talk about it, you'll be like, whoa. At first, when you hear it, you're going to think it is just asinine. Like, this is nuts. And then the more he gets into it, it's like, oh my God, Jesse Lee Peterson talking about every man needs to forgive their mother. Go and have a conversation and tell them, Mom, I forgive you. Go listen to that. I'm not even going to try to explain it to you. I'm telling you, I know it sounds nuts on the surface, but it goes back into that, how a lot of men try to marry their mother. A lot of girls will try to marry somebody that they think is like their dad. And then if you got into a family that came from dysfunction, Dia Morel Hartman said, your family of origin always determines how you resolve conflict. It is very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. I mean, I always joke that I got a family wreath. I don't have a family tree. It just feels that way sometimes. But yeah, I mean, and that's it's incumbent upon us to, is thinking through these things, to sit down and think about this stuff out loud and have those conversations. Like, what did my parents do? What is my cousins and or sisters and brothers and all that? And that gives you an idea of kind of what you've, dealt with, and then how you handle things. There are people that are for spankings, against spankings, times out, raising, like, my kid's going to buy his own car, or I'm going to buy the car for him. I mean, all these different things. And that a lot of that comes from your family, like or not.
I got my butt tore up, man. I ain't going to lie to you. And you know what? I mean, I feared it. I did. But you know what? I just went and I did it again. I was that rebellious. That's that is the result of being a pastor's kid. I think I've known many pastors' kids that seems to happen, but Mandalorian, I love that name, brought up a good point. She said, I understand what you're saying, but I have to say, even though it can explain things of how people fall into the abusive patterns, it doesn't explain why they choose not to change it. I was abused and kept from my father. I see that, and I would never do that to my children. So even if we see the pattern, we can change it. 100%. There's personal responsibility. I think there's a difference in recognizing, like, I have an easy chance to repeat history. But you can always be the person that says, we're stopping it right here.
Yeah.
Right. It ends with me, and it will not go past this. And it might take a lot of work, but if you can realize that is there, I think that sets you up for success much better. I guarantee you, a lot of these people in those high conflict relationships or these alienators are not the ones sitting down. Did I get this from my mom? Did I get this from my dad? Like, what similarities from my childhood did I bring to this? But if you're one of the ones that do, you're probably one of the ones that will want to change it, right?
Yeah.
Because there is power in being able to be critical of yourself and realize there's things that I need to change. The worst evaluator of ourselves is ourselves, right? It's just out there. But if you can recognize your own BS, right, and then you can change it. And I appreciate, Amanda, for you to be able to talk about that, and you're changing it.
Yeah.
Changing it.
Yeah, it's sometimes just recognizing you're crazy, sometimes it's as simple as that, and then working to change. There was actually a graphic out there that shows grandma, grandpa yelling at parents, and then the parents yell at the kid, and the kid says, I'm changing, and then they say, and they speak words of encouragement. I think is the way that graphic goes. But that's, I mean, you got to understand what's going on, and then you work on changing it for the better. It's just like Title 4D and all this other stuff. You have, if you don't understand what's going on with family courts, and it's a fatherless issue. No, well, yeah, it is, but how did it get there? Then once you learn and understand, then you can work on changing the narrative and the problem and all that, and having good people around you to help you do that. It's going to take all of us.
Dude, did you sit down and try to process these emotions and have the conversations that we were having when you was a teenager?
No, I was in survival mode.
Me too.
I probably triggered about a couple hundred people right now when I said survival mode.
Yes.
But I was in survival mode.
It's never too late, man. It's never too late. And I think these are important conversations that people should have probably had a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I guess that's a good time, guys. We're about at 2.5 hours in. Did you say that you wanted me and Dwayne to come back a little bit later on? Because if so, if we keep going, we'll still be on. But we need to get some more of those voicemails in. So if you keep those going in and you want us to show back up a little bit later on, 8:00 p.m. Eastern tonight, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific, that got a little bit quicker. That's when we're going to come on. 762-441-0281. The number is scrolling down at the bottom of the screen. Guys, let's talk about that Christmas again. We only got, what is today? Is it the 11th? Oh, dude, I just sat down. I swear this has been one of the quickest years I've ever been through in my life. It seems like after you're 21, time just starts going a little bit quicker. And then when I hit 30s, it doubled. And now that I'm getting close to the end of my 30s, it's going even quicker. This year just shot by. And even when we got into the month of December, I looked down, it was December 10th the other night, and I was like, it's 2 weeks till Christmas, man. It will be here before you know it, guys. And we want to make sure that we can affect as many lives and make the biggest difference as we can. I'm telling you, 100% of the proceeds that go to that app down there, both of those apps, Cash App and Venmo, Dad Talk Today, no spaces, 100% of the proceeds. Plus, I think even some of us are throwing some of ours in, trying to get some in there. We are going to make a difference in a dad's life this holiday season. I say a dad, we've already sent out to several dads. Even we do what we can, man. We do what we can, but every dad, especially if they're going through these issues, should be able to see those smiles on their kids' faces. I tell you what's sad, dude. I wish we had money just to be like, let's take care of some power bills, or let's take care of some mortgage payments or something like that, because that's what a lot of these guys are struggling with. Listen to these child support payments that they're having to pay. They have no money left, Dwayne.
Yeah, they're dead broke trying to make ends meet, and and all that. I mean, I'm glad that we've gotten donations. I mean, it just shows that that's that sacrificial giving. Don't get all biblical and stuff, but the good book, had a story in there about a person that was rich giving an amount of money, and then you have an older lady who gave, I think it was the equivalent of a penny or whatever. And it was said that person that gave sacrificially, that was the one, the big one. The community here has been giving sacrificially, and I mean, I appreciate. I wish we could all do more. And that's the thing. You can you do what you can. A kind word to somebody, a conversation, a shoulder to talk to, a shoulder to cry on. Doing these things. That's how we're gonna get there.
Absolutely, man. So let's keep it going, man. I hate to leave you guys. We still got a lot of you on here. Let's do it again tonight. Let's do it again tonight. Make sure your voices are here. Thank you. This is how we grow the movement. I do feel like we are in the right direction. Right? I know it's gonna be a lot of hard work. You don't understand how difficult. You will, but a lot of people won't understand how difficult it is to say stop the brakes on what we've been doing the past few years and let's go in this other direction. I've built my contacts in that political arena that I've been talking about, and I got a lot of them. I'm not going to keep going down a rabbit hole when I don't see no light at the end of the tunnel. I bought into the bull crap of that we could change it in that arena for so long, and then when I saw, they're just mouthpieces, I'm done with it. It is up to us, guys. I'm telling you, we've been there, we've done it, we've talked to them. It is up to you guys. So help us continue to grow this and elevate these voices every way that we can. Like, share, subscribe. Go to Rumble. Subscribe to us on Rumble. I don't have it live streaming on there yet. I've done some live streams, but everybody that's watching this, I don't care what platform you're on, go to Rumble, because I do believe
the day may come.
Once we start shaking it up, Dwayne, it's gonna get easier. This is $1 billion industry, and it's like throwing rocks at people that have machine guns. Right?
It's a David and Goliath situation. I mean, I don't know any better way to say it. I mean, and they're going to try every trick in the book to shut you down. I mean, and if you think a tinfoil hat, look at other groups and other organizations and what's currently happening today in the political arena with certain laptops and data and stuff like that. I mean, they will shut you down. So yeah, Rumble right now, they're a open platform where you can talk a lot. You can talk freer, and who knows what will happen in the future. I'd love to, say that, we'll all be here forever, but get on Rumble.
Yeah. In the meantime, if you want some more content, go check out the interview I did with Teddy Daniels last week. Teddy was the candidate for lieutenant governor up in Pennsylvania. And guys, like just a few weeks before his election, domestic violence allegations come out against Teddy. Okay, Rolling Stone, the whole 9 yards, they're all throwing these things at him. And if you look up his name on Google, the first 3 pages are going to be these allegations. What they're not going to tell you is the following week, he went to court and was showed every one of those was false and that he was innocent. Nobody did any retraction articles. And he ended up losing the race. And it made people not want to touch him and everything. The silver bullet was alive and well. And he said, you know what, Eric, I want to speak out on this. Come on my show. And we had a lot of viewers that tuned into that normally wouldn't talk about family court. And I don't usually do this, Dwayne, not like I did on there. I'm usually the guy, like, you give me a question, I'm going to hurry up, give you an answer, and then let you do your thing because you're the host. Like, dude, once he gave me the platform, I was like, Pwah! I didn't do the word vomit, but I was like, hey, I'm about to get every little issue and wake as many people up as I can. And we got a lot of people that reached back and said, oh my God, that was good. So you guys go check that out. That was one of the ones I really enjoyed. So I guess that's it, man. I'll see you again a little bit later on tonight. Somebody said, what time? That is 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific. I did 6 like that because I was trying to think of the Pacific. But see, you didn't know that.
No,
you didn't know that.
That's
okay,
professional right there. That was good.
Go spend some time with your Bobs. Later. All right, bud. We'll see you, man.
See y'all later.